Hey everybody, welcome to the Players Take episode 24. I am your host, Justin DeSimone, joined by my co-host, Montrell Rice.
Hey, what's up?
For those of you who have not listened, the Players Take is our weekly show where we talk about video games, video game news, and other topics pertaining to video games. We post on 6 a.m. Central Time on Fridays on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and your favorite podcast app of choice. So, this week is E3 week. We were recording after all the conferences are over. However, I want to kind of give people a heads up. So, Montrell is going to be out of town next week. We're not going to be able to record during our normal recording time. So, there was so much news at E3 that we're going to split E3 into two episodes, basically. We're going to be doing one today, or doing one... We're recording about today. We're going to be posting the first one this Friday, and it's going to be some non-conference news and then Microsoft's conference. And then next week's episode 25, is going to be the rest of the conferences. So Ubisoft, Bethesda, Nintendo, and Square, with no other news. And then the week after that, we will probably catch up on the 2 weeks of news that we missed in between that. So just giving everybody a heads up there. So, that being said, this episode is going to be dope. Next episode is going to be dope. They're going to be big, meaty episodes. A lot to talk about. E3 was exciting. But before we do that, let's start with what we've been playing. Montrell, why don't you get us started? What have you been playing, man?
League of Legends. I even know I have Borderlands 2 on here. I was playing Borderlands 2 with you guys. Played
briefly for a couple hours, probably.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I was kind of sick.
It's okay. This game, I'm like accepting that we're not gonna even beat it probably before Borderlands 3 comes out.
Yeah, I'm so excited for Borderlands 3.
Oh, of course, I know. 100%.
And I've been playing League of Legends, and I've been playing God of War. I've mainly been playing God of War because League of Legends is too much for me right at that moment. This weekend, I was really sick, so I was just playing God of War. So
got it. You needed that comforting single player game, right? About a dad and his son, boy, boy.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. I did a lot of side stuff. I forgot about the main campaign because I was doing so much side stuff. And then even when I was just swimming or in the boat rowing around, I would stop before I reached my destination so I could hear what's his face finish the stories that he was telling. Yeah. So
Kratos.
Not Kratos, but the
guy,
the
head.
The head.
Yeah. I forget his name.
Yeah, I forgot his name too. But he was telling stories and stuff like that. And fucking Odin and Thor are fucking assholes.
I
man.
love it. I love that they went so far the other way with the lore.
Yeah.
Like obviously the Thor we know from like Marvel is just goofy,
this righteous
comedic,
dude.
righteous dude. Yeah, and then Loki's like kinda an anti-hero.
Yeah.
He's a villain sometimes, but he's kind of an anti-hero. I like in this that they are just a-holes.
Yes.
And they are just tyrants.
Man,
like
they are fucking assholes, man.
I love it though. I love it.
I do like the spin on it, and I like how they have no regard for the people they worship that worship them in their realm and everything of that nature. I also like, I know you mentioned this before on other podcasts, but just bits of like a tourist when he talks about guys and he listens to their stories and stuff like that. He's like, "Oh, this is sad," or "This is not a third," and Kratos is like, "Have no mercy for the gods." He's like, "I don't care."
I love it. I know.
And like he and our tourist and the other guy that's like on his head, they have no recollection of why he's just so spiteful for gods. But like you as a player know, like
we know the history, right?
Yeah,
that's what's so cool. That's what's so cool about it is like seeing these other characters kind of bounce off Kratos, not knowing that information.
Exactly.
They sort of have an idea, like the head guy, he knows Kratos, but he's not entirely sure. Like, and he just heard like rumors mostly, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's kind of cool, and Atreus has no idea really.
Yeah.
And it's just such a. Yeah, it's the way it's done is so cool. It's such a slow build too.
Yes.
But dude, trust me on this, the payoff is just excellent. Like it's excellent. So I'm excited that you're back into it. You finally seem like you're going to stick with a game for once.
Yes. It's too many games coming out this year.
Bouncing around bullshit that you've been pulling.
Yeah, like, it's too many games coming out this year.
You need to get your ass in gear because you have very limited time. E3 has shown us that look, we got Fire Emblem coming in July. That's a month from now.
Yeah.
Okay? So you got about 6 weeks, probably 6 to 7 weeks before that comes out. So you need to fit in everything you can before that. Then after that, we have, God, I mean, dude, like September and even the end of August has some stuff.
Yes,
so
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think it's like 3 games coming out in September, too.
Yes. Yeah, which we'll get to.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. We don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah.
You know.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I've been playing, though.
Okay. Me, also Borderlands 2 briefly with you. I did check out... I'll wait for that, actually.
Okay.
Grim Dawn, I've been really deep into that this weekend. I was getting my main character through most of Ultimate. All I have left is the newest expansion to get through with that. I'm getting to the point where I want to farm like equipment for this character.
Okay.
And I'm just trying to get through all the content so I can do that.
Okay.
And like kind of pick where I want to farm.
Yeah.
My character is good. I've gotten it to a good place, but it can be much better. I know that for a fact, and I really want to just work on that. You know, it's like I'm so eager to play it more. It's like time consuming. You know, I spent probably not the whole weekend, but like half the weekend probably playing Grim Dawn, and I only got through the first expansion. So I need to spend more time to get through the next one, then start farming, theory crafting my character, really like refining it and whatnot.
Okay.
So I'm really looking forward to getting into that. More Wargroove. I got through a few more missions in that. Not far off now. I'm in chapter 5, and I think there's only 7 chapters.
Okay.
In the game. So I'm getting close to the end of that. I said this I think last week or 2 weeks ago. I'm really enjoying jumping back into this game, just the simplicity of it and how it's just pure strategy.
Yeah,
I'm enjoying it. Like
okay,
it's.
I know you had a little bit of issues with it when you first started playing it.
I did, but it's funny coming back to it now. It's like I like the game for that now, though. It's like weird. It's like this game doesn't need to be what I was kind of complaining about before. Really, it doesn't need the depth. There doesn't need to be progression necessarily.
Okay,
it's just a pure strategy game. I'm pretty sure I said this before. It's fine. It's fun as a pure strategy game. It's just like I prefer that progression, but I'm enjoying it for what it is. Though,
okay.
Now, so playing that, and then another game. So, kind of full transparency on this one. So, I listened to a podcast called Sacred Symbols, which is a PlayStation-focused gaming podcast.
Yeah.
And one of the hosts on there mentioned this game called Fell Seal Arbiter's Mark, and he said that it was a kind of Final Fantasy Tactics Ogre kind of mix. Spiritual successor kind of game, and he liked it a lot, so I took his recommendation and decided to pick this game up this weekend. I've played about 5 hours, I'd say 5 or 6 hours or so.
Okay.
And holy shit, is this game good. Like, this is my game of the year so far. No
really
joke. Not kidding at all. I mean, that's not saying a lot because the year's been bad. So I mean, this game will probably get dethroned later in the year. But
right now,
I have a soft spot for this genre, which is SRPGs, and the game is solid, dude. Like, not only is the gameplay good, and the design and the systems are good, and the way characters level and the progression and whatnot, the story is actually very intriguing.
Really?
Which this game was made by 2 people, a 2-person team. It's called, I think it's like 6 Eyes something Studios or something like that.
Okay.
It's a 2-person team. And, man, they improve on the formula in a lot of interesting ways. So, one of the things this game does that I really like is that items are not a thing you buy necessarily. You craft them. And you don't have a stock of them like you would in a normal RPG. Like you don't have like 10 potions on you or whatever. In this game, you have 1 potion, and it has a number of uses per battle that you can use.
Okay.
And you can craft it to upgrade the number of uses, and also upgrade how potent it is. So, like at level 1. And then there's a better potion than that you can make that does more, right? And I like this a lot. It's actually a really good way to streamline things because it allows you to kind of, your money is just purely for equipment, and you don't have to worry about stocking up on items every single battle. You're not micromanaging that, and I actually kind of like it for that. And also, everybody can use your inventory of items. Like, you don't have to assign it to anybody specific, which Tactics Ogre had done that in the past, where you had to have the item in the character's inventory for them to be able to use it. And this game doesn't do that, so anybody can use any item. And then Final Fantasy Tactics, you had to have an ability to even use items, I think, in that game, from what I remember. You could use certain basic items, but I think you had to go down the chemist's tree to actually use more items, from what I remember.
Damn, that's kind of hardcore, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I might be misremembering that. It's been a long time since I played it, but I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Okay.
You can use potions, but they're not useful for very long, right? Obviously.
Yeah.
So I think you need abilities to be able to use like high potions and some of the better potions and stuff like that. So that's another thing I like about this game, is that it's flexible, but the game is not easy by any stretch of the imagination. It is still difficult. One other thing too I want to note too here is that so Final Fantasy Tactics and Tactics Ogre both had character permanent death. So if you lost a character, they would be dead forever. And the only way you could get them back is if you had a way to revive them within the battle they died. If you finish the battle with them still dead, they're gone for good, straight up. This game, if you lose a character, they don't die. They just get an injury basically, which lowers their stats for the next battle. So basically, they have to sit out a battle in order to heal the injury.
Okay.
Which is kind of a cool system. I kind of like it because it lets them focus more on making the battles actually really hard instead of kind of holding back the difficulty because they don't want to be too harsh on players.
Okay.
So that is kind of cool as well. I'm digging that too. So I like some of the differences. The classes, there's probably 30 to 40 classes in this game, which is a lot. And I'm excited to play more of it. Our friend is actually, like the one we play Borderlands with, is leaving for the next week and a half, so we're going to be in single player land probably for the next couple weeks. So I'm planning on playing this game a lot. Honestly, this is the game. This game has grabbed me. Like I'm chomping at the bit to play this game.
Yeah, and I know I was listening to our past couple of podcasts and the first couple of episodes, and you have been craving that SRPG, and dude, you can definitely tell the first couple episodes that we have, you've been craving it. So I'm glad you got it.
Desperately, like, dude, the fact that I heard about this game and when I started looking at it, and I was like, huh. It's actually looks pretty legit.
Yeah.
And then I picked it up and I was like, wow, this game is really cool. I will say there are some flaws, like it's not perfect.
Yeah.
You can tell animation is definitely where they cut some corners. The animations in this game are very poor. Like very, very poor. They don't look good really at all, like the spells and the characters attacking and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. With an SRPG, that's literally the last thing that's important about the game. Yeah. Like it's all about gameplay, story, and character progression. That's in team building. Those are like the most important things for these games. Like the way the game looks is one of the last things I care about. And it kind of makes me think of Fire Emblem, where they've become more and more over the years, more and more about the animations and like less about the game and the strategy. And it's like, it's kind of funny to see that. Think about that playing this game. So they focus on the right things, and that seems obvious to me in my first few hours.
Yeah.
The game also seems pretty large, so I'm digging that too. It's not like a small, because you think made by two people, right? It'd only be like 10 or 15 hours. It seems like it's much longer than that.
Okay.
Like maybe 25, 30, maybe even more possibly. So, dude, I'm really excited. I want to play this game more. It's like this week has sucked so far because I haven't been able to just, like, I played for like an hour yesterday. I was like, fuck, I want to play more. Like, it's like we're recording tonight, so I can't play tonight. And then tomorrow I got some errands to run, and I need to edit these, so I'm probably not gonna be able to play much tomorrow either. It's just like, man, I want to play though. I want to play more. But
sounds nice.
Hey, man, you got God of War, dude. Don't give me anything, okay?
I'm saying it sounds good. I'm glad you got a game that you can, like, play.
Yeah, thank you.
Because you've been, like,
kind of down in the dumps
lately.
Hey, man, Grim Dawn's good, okay? Grim Dawn's been good to me.
Yeah, but it's not a single-player game. I mean, it can be.
It's totally a single-player game. We play it multiplayer, but that is actually not the way the game is designed at all. It's meant to be played single-player.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. No, Grim Dawn's great.
Okay.
It's great. It's really
good. Man, I'm just saying.
Okay, all right. Enough about games we're playing. Let's move on to the news, which is a big list of news this week. So we're going to start kind of outside of conference stuff. Some of this stuff did get announced in conferences, but we heard about it before conferences happened. So I think we talked about this briefly, that Baldur's Gate 3 had been...
It was rumored last time we recorded. Well, this is official now. This was announced officially at Google Stadia event, which... it's being made by Larian Studios, which was the rumor. Yep.
And it is going to be D&D 5th edition.
All right, cool.
Which traditionally the other two Baldur's Gate games used D&D rule set for the game. They did say they're going to be modifying the rules somewhat to kind of make it more pleasant in video game form and streamlined.
Yeah, the way our friend was talking about one of the other D&D games.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, man, D&D is rough, dude. If like, early D&D is really rough. Like, your characters are pathetically weak. And
like, how are you, like, he ran into that Wraith, and like, I'm like, how are you supposed to get past this?
Well, video games are tougher, because when you're actually playing D&D, or like, the DM you're playing with will probably tailor the game to your party, right? Yeah. So they're not going to put you up against a Wraith if you have no magic attacks, right? Like, probably. Unless they try to use it as a clever way to kind of give you some obstacle to overcome.
Okay.
But, in a game, though, it's like you kind of just wander into it, and it's like there. So, But, the thing is like, they didn't give a release date. They didn't even really give a release window. I don't even think they mentioned the year.
What about the gameplay? I knew that was like a big subject.
They did not
kind of avoided it.
They did not clarify. They were specifically asked if the gameplay was going to stay the same or if they're going to change it. They kind of avoided the question. It sounds. I think their answer was like they said that we'll change it in places that make sense.
Okay.
To make it more streamlined for modern audiences, which. I think
they should go pure turn-based.
The fact that they won't say it is because Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 are active pause battle systems. Basically, what that means is the game is an action game in the sense that it's like an RTS. It plays out. If you don't do anything, characters will just do whatever their AI is programmed to do.
Yeah.
You can give commands. Obviously, you can pause the game at any time and give commands, and then they'll do those commands, and then things will happen based on that, right?
Yeah.
Generally speaking, and this is Pillars of Eternity was like this too, you will be pausing a lot to give commands between, like, say you'll have one character swing his sword and then you'll pause to give him a new command, right?
Yeah.
Don't want what to do, right? Then you'll have another character cast a spell and then you'll pause to tell him to do the next thing, right?
Yeah.
Things like that. What I think is that Larian, they have made Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2, which are purely turn-based CRPGs.
Okay.
Like, pure turn-based. So there's no pausing, it's just turn-based. Like, every character gets a turn, and it's more like D&D in that way. And I'm kind of thinking based on the fact that they didn't say, I think they're making it turn-based. That's my theory. Because if you were keeping if you were keeping it the same, why wouldn't you just say that?
Yeah.
Why would you want to withhold that information? The reason you'd want to withhold is because, like you just said, if you're changing it, you're going to piss people off. Probably, like purists, like the Baldur's Gate purists who are like really into the original games and love the original game's combat.
Yeah.
They're probably not going to be happy if they change it to turn-based. So I think they're holding it to say it some other time. They're going to endure whatever backlash comes of it and just take it. They just didn't want it to mar the initial announcement of the game. Right?
Yeah, I just remember playing Baldur's Gate. I mean, at the time, the pause and play thing was pretty cool, but I think now, I don't think it's very viable.
Dude, playing through Pillars of Eternity, the further I got into that game, the less I liked it.
Yeah.
It's so
tedious.
It's just so tedious. It's like you character casts a spell, you pause, and then you move him where you want to move him next, and then you have 6 characters at a time you're controlling, so you're doing this constantly. It's like every millisecond you're pausing the game. It's like,
well, you know what game kind of, I know people might give me flack for this, but what game kind of did it well but didn't do that combat system was Dragon Age 1, where you can pause it.
Yes. I do remember that game played way better than Pillars of Eternity did it.
Yeah.
Because that game was actually a fully 3D game.
Yes.
It wasn't the 3D kind of on a 2D background aesthetic of Pillars of Eternity, and Baldur's Gate is like 2D sprites pretty much.
Yep.
It's like Starcraft or Warcraft 2 or something like that. So the game, that game, like I think Baldur's Gate probably played much better than I think Pillars of Eternity does. Mm-hmm. And I remember Dragon Age 1, and I love Dragon Age 1 actually. I really like that game. Because the combat, there was a lot of pausing, but the combat played out really smoothly. It didn't feel chaotic, right?
Because it looks like they program each character.
Yes.
In their AI to do.
You can specifically you can create an AI profile for every character, and they will play it out. Yep. So the only character you have to absolutely control is your main character.
Exactly.
So yeah, that was the thing, is like I didn't really utilize that. I was pretty micromanaging, but even being that way, I don't remember being as annoyed with that game as I was with Pillars of Eternity.
Yeah, I love Dragon Age or Originals. What's it called?
Origins.
Origins.
Yeah, Dragon Age Origins.
I loved it, and they try to implement that in Inquisition a little bit.
Yeah. You could pause an Inquisition.
Yeah,
right?
you can
but
pause it.
That was kind of an action game, though, wasn't it? Like a third-person
So the thing about
game?
Inquisition was really interesting, right? They did have the same. You can set up your characters the way you want to. They just didn't have as many commands as Dragon Age 1, but you can almost do it. And I think if they were to go back to that system, they would probably implement both, where you can control your character as an action character, but have a lot more. Because that was the main complaint a lot of people had with their AI. They were like, I want my AI to do specific things that they can do in Dragon Age or Dragon Age 1.
Yeah.
Like, if I want my person to tank, I want him to tank. I don't want him to do other stuff, just tank.
Yeah.
Or if I want somebody to heal, blah, blah, blah. You can do that in Dragon Age 1, but in Inquisition, you had to kind of micromanage a little bit. It was a little bit more hands-on. But in Dragon Age 2 was just terrible. I don't even want to talk about that. But
fair enough.
But yeah, if they did something like that for Baldur's Gate 3, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, the other thought is maybe they're not making it like isometric. That seems unlikely though, given the studio's pedigree and the series pedigree. I mean, it just seems unlikely that they would change the camera angle. I think turn-based is possible and fairly likely, and for me, that excites me because I love the turn-based.
Yeah, I love turn-based too.
I vastly prefer the turn-based to the pause. So,
contrary to what I was talking about last week with Pokemon, but I do like turn-based guys.
Okay, yeah, dude, those comparisons that's apples to oranges, right? Yeah. They're different kinds of turn-based. So I don't know. I mean, the thing is, like, this takes place after the first two games, and I've never played the first two games to completion, so I'd probably want to play those. So even if this comes out within the next calendar year, it's like I doubt I'm going to play it anytime soon. As much as I'm not, like, I'm excited to play it, though, whenever it does come. Yeah. So it's like, because I know this universe is really rich, and I remember my brother playing it, and I just was like blown away as a kid. I was like, oh, God, games can do this. Like, dude, they can be this dialogue heavy and stuff. Because I wasn't used to that. I only played like Nintendo games, really. So this was one of the first games that really like kind of made me think like, wow, games are capable of a lot, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm excited to play it at some point, because it is I mean, we know now it's coming on Switch. The first two games are coming on Switch as a bundle, so I'm definitely gonna pick it up. I think
I just want that price to drop, though. That is ridiculous.
$50, dude. It's crazy. But all right, let's move on. So I'm gonna skip around a little.
All right.
So we mentioned Stadia. Let's just get into that. All right. So Google had a conference about Stadia on Thursday, I think it was last week.
Yes. So yeah, it was Thursday because that.
A couple days after recording, and they detailed everything basically. Everything's kind of out in the open. It is interesting. It's not a box. There's no device. It uses Chromecast.
Yep.
Which I don't even think you necessarily need the USB stick.
You don't need it. You can just log in.
But it's going to come with one, though.
Yeah.
If you buy the Founders Edition, you will get the Chromecast USB stick, you'll get a controller, and then you will get 3 months of the streaming subscription for free.
Yep.
Basically included. The price is $129 to start, which I find it weird because it's like, to me, you might as well just wait and buy the controller separately because it's probably going to be cheaper.
Yeah.
You know, but they also said that it's going to be a subscription model. It's going to be $9.99 a month in the U.S., and that basically gives you access to the streaming service and gives you a small library of free games to try.
Okay.
And most other games you're going to have to purchase.
Gotcha.
So you're going to have to pay whatever the MSRP is on Stadia for the game. And one of the games they did announce is going to be free is Destiny 2.
Okay.
Which we'll get to in a moment, actually. That's going free to play, but the base version of the game is going to be on Stadia as a free game.
Okay.
But, yeah, it's interesting to me because I think the model is really obtuse and weird. The fact that you have to pay $10 a month just to stream, and then you have to pay more money on top of it to buy games that's going to be a huge barrier, I think, for people.
So I thought, from what I read, that you can pay $10 a month and you stream the games. You get like all the extra perks with that 4K resolution and everything like that.
Yep, you do.
And then I thought you get a free model as well. That's what I thought I saw.
Free model what?
Like, there's just a free base model that you can get. You can just use Stadia and buy stuff off their platform and stream it anytime.
Yeah, but eventually you're going to have to pay for the subscription on top of it. So
gotcha,
as I said, the first 3 months are free, and that goes into the beginning of 2020. And once 2020 hits, everyone's going to have to pay $10 a month.
Gotcha.
Basically,
okay.
To be able to stream it all. If you don't pay for that as a subscription, I don't think you can use the streaming service at all. Whether you own games or not. So it's basically like a weird version of like PS Plus, where, because you know how when you put a game on your PS Plus, you get it for free, but if your PS Plus lapses, you can't play that game anymore?
Yeah.
It's similar to that, I guess.
Okay.
Sort of. You kind of lose access.
Okay,
so.
yeah, that is pretty weird. I mean, it's coming, like, people were talking about it, especially at the E3 and stuff like that, you know, when they're announcing games, people are like, yeah, it's coming from Xbox, PlayStation, Google Stadia. Like, now I think they're trying to make it a staple, and
they're way off with that. I'm sorry, this is a niche product that is way before its time, in my opinion. And
I'm the same way.
Their problem is going to be Xbox and Sony. They have other things that will buoy them up.
Yeah.
Stadia has nothing. They're a new player trying to get into this market, and the only way for you to play their games is by subscribing to the service and buying the games. That's it.
Younger people are into this though. They're like, man, this is like really cool. I can play like Destiny on my phone.
How many of them are there though? This is my problem. Like they released a little chart here of how fast your internet needs to be to get certain levels of
35
quality.
megabytes isn't that bad.
Well, yeah, so the lowest is 10 megabits per second is the recommended minimum, which is not a lot.
Yeah.
But dude, that is not ubiquitous. 10 megabits per second is definitely not ubiquitous. I lived literally 45 minutes to the north like 5 years ago, and I couldn't get that.
Oh yeah, I know.
So
Me too.
It's not ubiquitous at all throughout the country, and that gets you 720p 60 FPS, which is not up to snuff for today's standards. If you want 1080p, which is what we're now used to, HDR 60 FPS with 5.1 surround sound, that's 20 megabits per second, and then 35 is 4K HDR video, 60 FPS, 5.1 surround sound. So that doesn't seem very high. 35 megabits per second is not very high to get 4K. Yeah. I just question how realistic this actually is, this chart. Like, I just don't believe that this is real.
I can believe it. The thing that's not for me is that I was reading a lot of articles. Only one article really touched on it, is the latency between input, lag input.
Which they're going to alleviate. They're going to alleviate by having a lot of data centers all over the place. But that's not going to work for everyone.
Yeah, and I just don't feel like, it's not going to be a viable thing for like fighting games and action games.
Yeah.
Now, turn-based games, more power to it, but things like that, it will be hard for me to take this as a serious platform if my input lags all the time. Even if I'm playing Call of Duty or Destiny or something of that nature.
And there's only so much you can do about
latency,
exactly, because it travels at the speed of light. That's
exactly.
it. Like, dude, you can't go faster than that. So, there's always going to be a latency with
exactly.
it. So
they try to compare it to, I think they said the Xbox One S is the latency for it, and I'm like, that can't be accurate at all.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
Well, yeah, that's just the problem though. Is I think like Xbox is doing it the right way. Like they're using their cloud is going to be like kind of a separate thing from Xbox, but Xbox will still be there for people.
Yeah.
So like Google's in a weird spot because I think what they're planning on doing, honestly, is eating shit on this until it becomes a thing. You know,
really,
like, until
I mean, they have the money, so they can do it.
Well, I think they're investing in it early, similar to how Sony did with VR.
Yeah,
and they're just gonna eat whatever costs they need to until it becomes profitable, which could be 10 years from now. Like, I think it's gonna be a long time before this is really competitive on the level of consoles.
Yeah, we just have to improve our infrastructure because we don't have the infrastructure.
I just don't think the U.S. is ready for this.
Yeah,
you know?
our infrastructure is terrible. It's not on the scale of like Europe and Japan, things of that nature, or other smaller first world countries. Whereas we're like really big.
Yeah,
and there are a lot of places in our country that still have satellite internet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I went to my friend's house. They just built. It was like a newly built area. I'm about to say settlement, like it was a colonial place.
Fucking pilgrims, man! Goddamn pilgrims in their stadia.
But yeah, he just moved out there, and I think he just got like internet, or not internet, but like wired cabled internet. Or broadband, yeah. I don't know why I'm stupid today, but like, yeah,
a lot of news,
he had a satellite for a while. He was getting 15 megs, which isn't bad. The satellite's terrible. So I can only imagine people that are still like out in the country areas, that still have a lot of land and everything of that nature, but they are gamers, but they just probably inherited land or they live on this land or something of that nature.
Yeah.
And they want to play a game. This is not viable for them. They will have to get a console.
I think what the future is going to be more similar to movies, where streaming might become the thing that's popular, but discs will still be available for people who want them. I think that's kind of the future we're looking at in a decade or so. But
I don't think it would be like
we're early right now. Like,
I don't think it would be Blockbuster. Like how Blockbuster went out of business.
No, GameStop. Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, they're fucking going down the drain.
I mean, we already talked about them.
I know.
And why they're going out.
It's even worse though. Their stock went below $5.
What?
They're falling apart right now.
Wow.
But yeah, so I mean, I think it's viable. I think Google has to stick with it long enough for it to become profitable for them. I think if their expectations are that this is going to blow people out of the water, they're crazy. They're out of their minds. Like, there's no way in hell. There's no way that I just don't see a way that this thing is going to be like. I could see it. I could see them maybe having 1 million people by the end of the year, but that.
I think this is designed for people who live in areas like California, areas like San Francisco, areas like Austin, Dallas.
That's what I'm saying though. What's the cross section of people that play games, live in those areas, and want something like this? I just don't think it's that big of an audience at the moment.
Yeah, I mean you're totally right because these people probably already have Xboxes and PlayStations in their homes.
And, dude, the other thing is, like, the comparison of movies and television is somewhat apt, but at the same time, it's not because those mediums, like, they had devices specific to them, but they weren't like consoles. They were just a player. They didn't do anything else. Like, they had no other features to them. It's like consoles offer you a lot more than just playing games. So. And I just don't think... And the thing is, with streaming shows, it's way more acceptable for it to not be at a high level of quality. Yeah. And it's also much easier to consume because you don't have to participate.
Exactly.
Right? So you're not... Even if there is latency with a video, you don't see it necessarily because you don't interact with it in any way.
Exactly.
So with a game, those are the hurdles. Those are the realistic hurdles, is that it needs to...
I just don't understand.
It needs to be playable.
Well, I really don't understand. Maybe this is just me being old school or whatever. I just don't understand the whole need for streaming games. Like, I don't understand why they're.
I think it's just a strong desire to go into the future. I think people just want futuristic shit, and this is futuristic.
But it's so dumb. Like, I'm sorry, but like it is to me. It's I don't want to stream my game. Like, I just don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And me being like an action fighting game type person is just mainly for the input lag. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to deal with that. It's terrible. Even if I'm not, let's say strategy games, you're playing like a Starcraft S game or League of Legends or something of that nature. Even though technically you're kind of streaming that game, it's still people want the lowest milliseconds, that you can get.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just weird that everyone is trying to do this streaming thing, and I'm like, this is not viable, dude, guys.
The other thing that's weird about the pricing model too is like the way they're doing it is boxing out existing console players. Because why? What reason besides the idea that this is a sexy new technology that you want to try?
That's it.
Would you go buy this Founders Edition of Stadia and then buy games on it that you can buy on PS4 and Xbox One probably for way cheaper than they're going to be on Stadia? Like,
and then on top of that, you got to pay for it every month just to play
it. Exactly. So you have to pay an extra $10 a month just to play it. It's why?
Now,
like,
maybe they can say the same thing about, people can argue like live service games, like, well, technically you got to do that for Destiny and everything. You got to pay $60 for the game, and then you got to pay $10 a month on Xbox or PS.
But that's a single game.
Yeah, like, exactly. I shouldn't. I don't have to do that for Persona 5.
For every game.
Exactly.
It's like, and yes, you have to pay for Xbox Live and PS Plus, but those services give you other things besides online functionality. They give you free games every month. They give you cloud saving, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, there's actually value in there added in that this doesn't give you. So
the only value I see in this is that you can play anywhere. Like, that's cool. And
but dude, Nintendo already did this with a device that's way more convenient than this thing's gonna be.
Exactly.
Like, Switch is way better than playing on my phone. Like, I don't want to play on my phone. I want to play on Switch.
I want to play on Switch.
Like,
exactly.
Whatever, dude. They're putting The Witcher 3 on Switch. Like,
it's actually competing with the mobile market, and mobile games are coming to the Switch, which is weird.
It's wild,
Because
we
thought
Nintendo is killing it, man. They're killing it.
Because I don't know if we were on a podcast when we were talking about the Switch, but I remember when the Switch was first announced, I was just like, man, I don't know if it's going to survive the cell phone market. I'm like, the market is just going to kill it, man. They just might just start moving everything to the cell phone market, move Pokemon to the cell phone market. I was just saying that. Then the Switch came out.
When the Switch came out, I was sold on it immediately. This is exactly what I wanted from Nintendo.
Yeah.
I never thought there was a threat to anything because they own the handheld market. Like, the mobile market is not the handheld market.
I just thought it was going to. I thought kids were going to gradually go there, but it looks like it's the opposite happening.
The opposite's happening.
Yeah,
well, dude, because phones are just not good for games. They're not appealing for games because you have no natural way to play them. You have to touch the screen, or you need an outside device to play them, like a controller, like a Bluetooth controller. The Switch is all in one package, dude. It's super convenient. It's expensive still, but it's worth it.
It's worth. Yeah, the technology is definitely worth it.
Yeah, it's worth it. So, okay, all right, let's move on. So, continuing to jump around, since I mentioned Destiny 2, let's just jump into that piece of news. So, Bungie had a kind of I think they had a conference, or I'm not sure. They might have done a stream. Was it a stream?
Yeah, it wasn't a conference.
They did a stream late last week as well. So a lot of news came out of this. This was huge for their post Activision split plans. Basically.
And did they play that the fuck up?
I know.
Sorry, Dennis.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that in a minute. So they announced a new expansion. It's called Shadow Keep. It's coming on September 17th. Sorry. It is going to be set on the moon, and it's going to be a typical Destiny expansion, new raid, new strikes, new gear, new levels, and all that stuff. What I will say, I guess we'll get into this later, but they really kind of hit that they want to get more into character progression and really make it more robust.
Yes.
And that in and of itself, just hearing that makes me more interested in Destiny automatically.
I was very... I wasn't impressed. Like, to be honest with you, I wasn't impressed. And then when they start talking about that, the character progression, things of that nature, and how one thing that stuck out to me, which is funny. It was, I guess it's kind of like, offensive, but whatever. He's like, we want to put all the nerd stuff in there. And I'm like, yeah, I love that nerd shit. Like, give me all that nerd shit. That nerd
I saw somebody say on Twitter, man, I love this. I love, like, we were talking about JRPGs, but, like, man, I love all this JRPG shit just injected into my veins.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, give me those stat screens, baby. Just inject it. I want it.
And the simple fact that they're talking about that, like, I'm interested to see how far they would go. Like,
I am too.
If I can make a Titan a fucking tank,
yes, distinct from the other classes,
exactly,
dude, I'm in, man.
Yeah,
I mean
that's what we've been talking about.
That's the one thing missing from Destiny. The progression and the gear are the two biggest issues with the game. The game plays fantastically, and it's presented really well. It's beautiful, like the world is interesting. They have an interesting story. So it's just that one piece, and that's a huge piece of this game. So if they can rectify that, they might get me to come back around at some point.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, as of right now, there aren't any differences between the classes besides their moveset.
Yeah. Which is not enough.
Which is not, exactly.
It's not enough. It's literally a flavor of how you kill things.
Exactly.
Like, the Titans, I guess the most interesting one, because it does have some defensive stuff.
Yeah.
But the other two classes have nothing defensive.
They're all DPS,
Yeah.
So, like I said, if they do change it and give me that nerd shit, make me want to turn my warlock into a fucking healing mage or some shit like that. Let me do that.
Crowd controller.
Yeah, exactly.
So that is intriguing. They did also announce that Destiny 2 is basically gonna be going free to play, the base version of the game.
Okay.
So what that means is they're calling it Destiny 2 New Light. It's going to be the first year of content. Everything in the first year of content, the base game and all the expansions that includes, is going to be free to play. So you can just jump right in and play whatever that is. So that's actually kind of interesting. That's nice because that might make me go play it again now because I don't have to pay anything to get back in.
Actually, yeah, you're right. I might do that too.
This is a really good strategy because it's like, if they do change progression, I can see that in this free-to-play version, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't necessarily have to buy the new content to see that, hopefully, if they do it correctly or properly. So that's kind of cool. I like that. I think it's a good strategy for them. It makes sense. They seem very committed to Destiny. And
they should be. I mean, it's a good franchise.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Bungie... Dude, whatever money they're making now without Activision being involved, they must be raking it in now.
Like, because they're all cylinders ahead on this shit.
Yeah, for sure. Like, they're taking everything in now.
And I'm pretty sure they got a pretty substantial amount of money from Google.
Yeah, for the Stadia, Stadia stuff. So they're in an interesting spot.
I mean, I'm glad to see that they're gone from Activision.
Yeah.
Now, we still don't know if the rumors are true that it was the Bungie executives who were doing stuff, because that's what Activision says.
Well, yeah, I'm really conflicted on this whole situation because it's like, my feelings on it is that it was Bungie.
I still think it was Bungie,
I still think of that. But the way they're talking about it, of course, they're trying to play up the evil Activision influence was ruining
Honestly,
Destiny.
I would do the same thing.
Of course.
I would do it too.
It's such an easy dunk. It's so easy, dude. It's like you don't even have to jump. Like, you just walk over and put it in. It's like, but I don't know if I buy it, though. I think they're full of it. Like,
yeah, I mean, only way we can tell is we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how far they go. If they really make this game completely different and make it super nerdy and, like, stat-driven and min-maxy, I mean, then that makes me think that Activision did have an influence and
because I think normal, I'm going to say call them normies, but I think casual people like that type of shit. Like, like
more than people, I think more than game developers and publishers think that people like this stuff. Like, it's fun to make a character yours. That is what those stat systems allow you to do. You know? That's why Grim Dawn is so fun, because every character I make is mine.
Yeah, exactly.
I can follow a guide, but I'm not going to do that because those are somebody else's character. Like, I want to make my character and make it good.
It looks like almost every build is viable in Grim Dawn, and I hope they can do that the same for Destiny, where... And to me, honestly, that's why Borderlands... To me, Borderlands is the one game that proved that people do like min-max, even though it's not to the degree of Grim Dawn, but it's still there because a lot of casual people love Borderlands, and you build your character.
Borderlands is min-maxing in a different way from Grim Dawn. Grim Dawn is min-maxing in like every conceivable way, like gear, skills, stat points,
and that's what I say. It's
devotions,
like,
all of it, right?
Yeah, it's not to that degree.
Borderlands really the only thing you're min-maxing in Borderlands is your gear.
Yeah, okay.
You're getting very specific pieces of gear with very specific attachments and affixes and things like that. Your character you can't do too much with. It's really
but the little stat progression tree thing. I'm pretty sure
skill trees.
Yeah, the skill tree and I think people underestimated that. That's what I'm talking about. Like, because they probably didn't figure that casual people will like that, but casual people do like that type of stuff. Yes. I mean, just look at Destiny from 1 to 2. Even though it didn't have that much in Destiny 1 as far as min-maxing, it did have some there.
And people wanted that back.
And people want that back.
Yeah.
So I think they grossly underestimated their fan base and what people want in video games in general.
Well, I'm interested. I'm intrigued. We'll see what this looks like when it comes out. But I actually don't think that they announced either when New Light is happening. I think it might be the same day Shadowpeak keeps coming out.
I think it's in September.
Yeah.
Sometime in September.
So keep an eye out on that, I suppose. All right. Small story, Ukulele, which was made by Playtonic, which is a bunch of ex-Rare guys who made like Banjo and stuff.
Yeah.
Ukulele, the first one was not super good. It was actually pretty disappointing. However, they announced a sequel that they're saying isn't a sequel called Ukulele and the Impossible Lair, and it is not a 3D platformer like its predecessor. It's 2.5D side-scroller that has side-scrolling and then top-down as well.
Okay.
And it seems very puzzle heavy. As much as I'm disappointed that they're not making a 3D platformer sequel to like improve on the formula and make the game better, this didn't look terrible to me.
You played the first one, right?
I did, yeah.
Did you buy it?
Yeah.
All right, and I know it's supposed to be like a spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie.
It's just bland.
It's just bland?
The worlds are not like interesting at all, and that's what makes Banjo stand out. It's not the gameplay. Like, dude, any game can make you run around and jump on platforms. Like, it's really not that interesting. It's really the worlds and the characters.
So do you think that's what they missed?
100%. Ukulele themselves, Yuka and Lele, are not interesting characters.
Okay.
They just seem like cheap rip-offs of Banjo and Kazooie. They don't feel distinct in any way. The villain is like a crappy version of Gruntilda. The worlds look like they were made like they're just generic Unity levels that you can buy. Like they're not distinct at all. Like one of them's like a grass world and then there's like a snow level and it's like, oh, whoop-de-doo. But it's just like they're not distinct. Like the Banjo worlds, dude, like the snow level in Banjo, the first Banjo had the giant freaking snowman on it that you had to do all this stuff on and stuff. It's like super cool and like really unique.
Yeah.
This game had none of that, dude. Like none of that. It's just not interesting at all, in my opinion. So I think that's what they screwed up, and I think they like if they were gonna make a sequel to it, they need to make the worlds really stand out. That's what needs to be the shining star. It's not Yuka and Lele. Like it's not the characters do matter, but it's not the gameplay. Like the gameplay is irrelevant. Like it's fine. Like I said, just do it like any other platform does. It's like anybody can do that, you know. But
you're right. I mean, the characters, in my opinion, when I do play platformers, they do make a difference because there's the distinct difference between, even though they're pretty much the same game, Jak and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank. Yeah, like those are two different entities in the same thing. But like, I prefer Ratchet and Clank over Jak and Daxter. Whereas I think
Jak and Daxter was another one that I felt like was not. It was kind of bland. Like the worlds weren't really that interesting.
But there are people who like live by Jak and Daxter.
100%. And dude, that game's definitely better than Ukulele. For sure, no question there. But it's just I just think Banjo-Kazooie was the pinnacle of this. It's so stylistic and unique. Yeah, you know, and it's like the characters really stand out too. All of them, like they're witty and snarky.
Well,
and
a lot of rare games, man. Like their character, like. Development or their character, I don't want to say character creator, but the way they create their characters around in their games are like very, very unique.
Banjo, like Donkey Kong games.
Even though I hated that game, but
not the one on N64. I'm talking about the Donkey Kong Country games.
Donkey Kong Country games. Yeah, even like Conker's Bad Fur Day, right?
Yeah,
like that game took like cute little Conker and like. Put it on his head like he's like a fucking pervert and everything.
And that's my point about being distinct. It's like really distinct from other platformers. Like Mario is kind of your standard, and then everything else around that is has to do something different.
Yeah.
Mario nails the platforming.
Yeah,
that's
does.
what Mario nails, and no other game's gonna hit that. So don't even try that. Like, obviously, you need your gameplay to be solid, but that's not what's going to sell your game, in my opinion, because people are just going to look at your game and compare it to Mario, and that's not what you want.
Exactly.
Because you're going to lose that comparison most of the time. It's like, that's the thing with Banjo, is like it hit both nails. Like the gameplay is solid. It feels really good. Like, everything feels tight, and like Banjo feels weighty, and he has like good movement and everything like that. And then the worlds, like, dude, the worlds in Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie blow any Mario game I've ever played away. Like, it's not even close to me. You know, even Odyssey, as creative as it was, it's just not even close to Banjo games.
My favorite Rare game from them was Jet Force Gemini.
Yeah.
And that was, to me, it was just so different from other shooters that were out there on the N64. Man. And I have no idea. I love that game to this day.
I can't believe how big that game was.
That game is fucking huge.
It's massive. Like, dude, you get to the end, you get to a boss, and you're like, you think it's the end of the game. It's like, man, no. It's like you have to like play the whole game again. It's like, it's wild. The game was wild. I don't think I ever beat it because it was so big.
I beat it. I beat it like years later, but I beat it. But
so anyways, back to Yooka-Laylee and this 2.5D game. It looks interesting. I don't know if I'll play it. It's probably one of those things like, I don't want to pay full price for this. Like, this is a game I would pay like $10 for. Probably,
okay.
And play over a weekend or something, you know? So that's kind of what it looks like. All right, let's move on. This is our last piece of non-conference news. This came out last week, actually, right after our recording as well, man. This is wild. So a developer left Blizzard and tweeted out that he said it was his last day, and that the project he'd been working on for the last 2 years, it was a shame that nobody was going to get to see it. And then Jason Schreier published a piece like literally an hour later saying that Blizzard canceled a StarCraft first-person shooter to focus on Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2.
All right, so I'm not upset about Diablo 4 at all. Like, cool. They need to get their rocks off, especially after Diablo 4 Immortal or Diablo Immortal.
Yeah.
But, you know, this Overwatch shit, I'm pissed off about that. Y'all might have seen me tweet about it like a couple of days ago. I was pissed off about it.
You were very upset.
I was upset about it.
Very upset.
You know why I was upset about it? Because I remember when the Kerrigan skin came out, and people were like, "Oh man, this skin is cool. Who is this?" I was so pissed because no one knew Kerrigan.
You dang kids! You don't know my video game characters. Get off my lawn.
But like every time Blizzard even dabbles in StarCraft, they cancel it.
I'm with you. I feel so bad for StarCraft fans, me being one of them, and you being one of them. That, dude, it seems like Blizzard doesn't want to do anything with this franchise.
Why? It's so rich.
Like, they keep trying and failing. And, dude, they could put any genre of game in the StarCraft universe and it would probably work.
The stealth game they had was like 90% done. You can find gameplay video of StarCraft Ghost.
I mean, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. If they think the game was bad and not worth releasing and wasn't up to their standards, that is fine. That is perfectly fine. But the fact that you can't figure something out with StarCraft, like dude, there's so much in here. You could make like a turn-based, nerdy Baldur's Gate-esque RPG, and it would.
You can make an
work.
XCOM game.
You can make dude. Why? Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Like XCOM. Like actually, I'm sure StarCraft was probably influenced by XCOM. Thinking about it, but like, dude, it's man, it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating, and and Overwatch 2. This goes back to our conversation we had in the first episode we ever released of this podcast, where we were talking about Blizzard. And this feels like desperation to me.
Yeah.
Because Overwatch was a game they released, and it came out in 2015? 2016.
I want to say 2016.
I think it was 2016.
Yeah, I don't think it was 2015.
And it was 2016, thinking about it.
All right.
It is a game that they said was going to be a platform, that it was going to have characters released and stages released for free perpetually. And
I mean, they kept their promise to that.
The only microtransactions are the loot boxes, and they're all cosmetic, and they make a ton of money off of them. But what this tells me, the fact that they're working on an Overwatch 2, means that, A, their loot box money must be drying up.
Or that legislation is about to pass.
Or they're worried about that.
Yeah.
But this was in development probably way before that was ever even a thought.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe they were smart and saw this coming.
Okay.
But there's that. Also, if they're making an Overwatch 2, they must be doing something to change the game. Because if they release the same game, like just a multiplayer arena shooter with characters, arenas, and whatnot, and different maps, and that's all the game is again, what is the point of the game? Right? Like, what's the purpose of it? What purpose does it serve?
So I mean, I hear that's supposed to be like a horde style.
Yeah, there's going to be PvE. It says that in this article.
Yeah, it's actually not like a full-fledged game. It's like an add-on. So, and they just got Overwatch 2 as like a code name, pretty much, which is cool, and that's understandable. Which we said they should do. They should not make another Overwatch.
I don't think they should either.
Unless it's going to be a completely different combat system.
Which, like we said before, we mentioned this a few weeks ago. If they're going to make a different Overwatch game, it should be a side game that is a single-player game, that has got a campaign, which is kind of what I hope this is, but it doesn't sound like it. And the fact that they're working on this and they canceled a Starcraft game that was only 2 years in development for this, it just makes me feel like they're kind of rudderless, and Activision is kind of putting the hammer down on them, like, you guys need to release games.
Yeah.
And they're kind of, I don't want to say panicking, but like kind of feeling the heat and the pressure from above, and they want to focus their efforts, right? And that's depressing.
It is depressing. But they put themselves in this predicament. They could have had everything they wanted, just the way they did it. I don't know who's in control of their PR. Maybe it's Activision or somebody who doesn't really get games. But they could have had Diablo Immortal, right?
Yep.
They still could have had it, and they still could have a positive reception towards it if they had just announced, like, hey, like how Nintendo did, Metroid, right? They're like, oh, or I don't want to spoil that, but how they did Metroid, right? So they said, like, still in development. They're like, oh yeah, we still got this in development, and they just showed the splash art. People went crazy over it. Yeah, they could have did that for Diablo 4. Like, hey, we got Diablo 4 in development, but to hold you off, we got Diablo Immortal.
Their problem is they don't. I think they're because one of their people said that they cancel like 50% of their games, and they said that is almost like trying to save face for this article. Yeah. But what that indicates to me is that their game development pipeline is not stable at all, and I think they worry that Diablo 4 is not going to be up to snuff enough to release, and they might have to cancel it, and they don't want to announce that game and cancel it. They don't want to do that. That is horrific. That would be even worse PR than what happened at BlizzCon.
Do you think they're suffering too from the, I don't want to say BioWare magic, but the crunch time thing, or do you think they're a little bit more organized as far as overworking their workers? Because I think
they are a huge studio.
Okay.
Like, absolutely gargantuan. I think they're close to 1,000 probably people.
Yeah.
Which is just ginormous. I don't know that for sure. That's my impression of Blizzard. I'm pretty sure they're pretty high up there, though, in terms of total number of people. So I don't know. I'm sure they might do some crunch. I doubt it's on the level of what we heard from BioWare.
Yeah.
I doubt very many studios get to that level. But I don't know. I think it's more concern about trying to get something out. Because, it seems like Activision wants... they said that... We read about this a couple months ago. They want more games from Blizzard, like, released, so they can make money. Like, Blizzard hasn't released... What was the last game they released?
Overwatch?
I think you're right. Yeah, that was like 3 years ago. Maybe because StarCraft came out before that, right? The Legacy of the Void.
Yeah, and I didn't buy that shit.
StarCraft 2.
Yeah.
Or was that the same year? That might have been after Overwatch.
It had to be like 2012, 2014. I know it was one of the...
Legacy of the Void was pretty recent.
That was 2016 then?
Yeah, I think it might have been 2016.
You know what? You're right, because
that's the last thing they released?
Yeah, they did that because that's when the skin came out for Widowmaker. The skin came out a year later for Widowmaker.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like, dude, they haven't released anything in a while, and I think they're feeling the pressure from above, and that's kind of influencing some of their decision making, and it's unfortunate because I think they also canceled one of their mobile games as well.
Yeah, that Warcraft,
some Warcraft thing.
Yeah.
Which, fine, good. I don't want it. I don't want just keep the mobile games away. But, dude, they're still not releasing anything this year. And then, what about next year? I mean, we still have no idea when Diablo 4 is coming. If it is coming next year or the year after. I doubt Overwatch 2 is close. It's like,
I just thought about
where
it.
Where are they at, man? I mean, they're getting WoW Classic, and then Warcraft 3 is supposed this year.
That's what they're coming out with.
But those aren't new games.
That's their moneymaker, though.
It's true. They'll make money off of them.
That's a moneymaker. I mean, honestly, they had 2 live service games to keep them afloat. So I don't know what Activision's kind of bitching about, because I'm pretty sure they're still making a lot of money off Warcraft.
Yeah. And they're definitely making money off of Overwatch. And Hearthstone.
Oh, I forgot all about fucking Hearthstone.
Hearthstone, they're probably still making a killing on that.
Yeah, so I don't know what Activision's pretty much breathing down their necks about.
I mean,
they probably want another live service game.
Yes, they do. Sure.
And maybe that's why they canceled the Starcraft game, because it was probably a live service first-person shooter type game, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's just speculation. I don't know, man. It's kind of weird.
Just a sad situation.
Why do they have BlizzCon anymore? Like, I remember I used to look forward to BlizzCon.
I never did. I always felt like it was a weird event because it's like they don't make that many games.
Yeah.
It's like, what are they talking about? Like, it's like we're gonna talk about this with some of the press conferences for E3, but it's like, dude, if you don't have substantial stuff to show, you shouldn't have an event. You know, like you can't just show up and show us games we've already seen. Like, that's not exciting for anybody.
Well, I guess
that's kind of what BlizzCon is. But BlizzCon's more than just the conference.
Yeah, I think it's like the culture.
It's an event.
Yeah.
It's a Blizzard event for fans.
Yeah.
A lot of cosplay.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Tournaments and all sorts of stuff like that. So it's more than just the conference, but they don't need to have that, though. Like, they don't have to have the conference. They can have BlizzCon without the announcements.
Yeah, they
right?
can. Yeah,
they can. And the thing is, I think this year BlizzCon will be better than last year.
I hope so,
because I do expect Diablo 4 will be formally announced at that. I mean, they were close to doing it last year, so it would be a surprise if they didn't this year, I would think.
I do feel bad for the developers, especially.
Well, they're getting thrown around all over the place, dude.
It's just, I don't know, man. It's the bed you lay in, though. This is the bed you made, so you gotta lay in it now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get to the meat of the show. E3 2019, man. So, as I said at the top of the episode, we're just doing the Microsoft conference for the rest of this episode, and then the next episode will be the rest of the conferences. So, we're gonna go pretty much in order. That's kind of how I plan this. Is we're gonna go in order, basically everything that Microsoft showed, and talk it all out, pretty much. So, let's get started. So they started with showing a trailer for the Outer Worlds, which I found intriguing since it's a multi-platform game, but I think it was a strong way to start, I guess, because it gave us a release date, which was October. I think it was October 20-something. Not exactly sure of the date, but it was in October. It's coming. Did you glean anything from this trailer?
Yeah, like I'm looking forward to it because it kind of gives me the Fallout vibes that I originally liked about Fallout. Unfortunately, it isn't Fallout, so it's not going to be in that universe.
Gave us some story, though.
But
a little bit
give
of
story. And I like the banter, like the choices that you can make. It looks like you can do. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I don't have any gripe with it right now.
No.
Obsidian is a very good developer as far as as far as their games, but their developing side, that's a whole different story. But I think I wanted a New Vegas 2. This will be my New Vegas 2.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so
essentially.
Yeah.
The game looks good. I'm probably going to play it. I don't know if it's going to be on my first tier of like games I want to play, but I will probably pick this game up. There's just so much coming in the fall at this point that
it's
like,
God.
dude, and it's in a window too. It's like the end of October, I'm pretty sure. And dude, that's like right around Star Wars and Death Stranding, and it's like, oh God, I don't know how I'm gonna keep up with all this stuff. So then Ninja Theory came out and showed a new IP called Bleeding Edge, which is going to be a multiplayer melee combat game that is 4v4. It looked pretty cool. The animations look fluid and it looked very stylish.
You know what? That's why I like Ninja Theory. So my thing with Ninja Theory, they're the Western version of Platinum Games, in my opinion.
Yeah.
When I play Devil May Cry, as much as I hate the character, I love the combat of that game. Mm-hmm. That game is very fluid in its combat compared to, like, you know, original Devil May Cry. So if they were to do another Devil May Cry game or another game like Devil May Cry, I wouldn't mind it as long as they don't take away from the original. But anyway, that being said, there was a game that came out like this couple years ago in the last gen. It's called Anarchy Reigns, and that was a 2v2 battle game. You're fighting and you're doing stuff like that, beat 'em up game. And this gave me serious vibes from that. And I was looking on the feed and on Twitter and everything and a lot of people missed out on that game. Like, I was surprised a lot of people missed out on that game. I'm like, hey, man, this is like Anarchy Reigns. People are like, what's that? And I'm like, this game made by Platinum Games. Let me show you. Like, it was really cool. So I'm glad. I like Ninja Theory for that. Like, Ninja Theory makes some really cool action games. I think they're very underrated as far as
Hellblade. People love that game.
Yeah.
So.
But like, they're just very underrated as far as like action games. People don't put them on a tier. I put them on a tier of like Platinum Games as far as Western developers. They're very stylistic. I love that type of shit. They're not on like God of War. They're like, if they were to make God of War, it would be like some stylistic crazy shit or whatever. Yeah. And I like that.
Well, they did say as well that this is not the only game they have in development. So it seems like they've beefed up since being acquired by Microsoft.
Cool, good for them.
Because they were not a studio that could work on multiple projects.
Yeah, they're pretty small.
They were small. So.
I still think they got a lot of flack from, and this is primarily Capcom's fault, but I still think they got a lot of flack from that Devil May Cry, and they didn't deserve that.
Yeah.
But that was Capcom's fault.
But they didn't decide what the game was going to look
exactly.
Like they just made what they were told to make.
Exactly. So I think they still get a lot of flack from that, but I think a lot of people forgot about it, and I'm glad a lot of people did forget about it, especially since this Devil May Cry came out, and they can really shine now. So I'm happy. Well, for them.
I mean, about this game though, did this jump out to you at all?
Yes, I'm very interested in it. Like I said, it reminds me of Anarchy Reigns. I just wonder how long it's going to last. It also reminds me of another game that came out.
Drawn to Death.
Not Drawn.
Remember that? Yeah.
Nah, not that one. Oh fuck! What was it called? It was an Xbox game.
Oh. Was it one of these arena games?
It was an arena game.
Kill Strain? No, that was Sony.
It was one where you like. I forgot, but it was like it reminds me of that game. Fuck, because they remade it and everything. They didn't remake it; they just remastered it.
Yeah.
And it was for the original Xbox.
Oh, okay. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this... I don't know how much of an audience this game is going to find, especially given that this is going to probably be an Xbox exclusive, I would think, because this one does not seem like it was in development before they were acquired.
Okay.
So, yeah, I find that interesting. So, we'll see. I guess we'll see more of it. I mean, the game, as I said, the gameplay looked cool, but... I don't know. All right. Let's move on. The next thing they showed was Minecraft Dungeons. So it's basically a Minecraft game that's like an ARPG.
Yeah.
And it looked kind of cute, but I don't know. I don't know much to say about it. Like, I didn't really care. I'm not gonna.
It reminded me of that one game, Gauntlet. You remember that game?
Yeah.
That's what reminded me.
Yeah. It just seems like it's probably gonna be a really basic game, not too complicated with the Minecraft style, so it looked kind of cute, but anyways. All right, and then I think the next thing they showed was Ori and the Will of the Wisps, the sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest.
I'm actually very disappointed in myself that I never played that game.
Dude, this one looks freaking awesome. Like, this game,
I heard the first one was really good.
I know, yeah, and I want to play it at some point. It's just the problem is it's on Xbox, and I don't love playing games on PC like that, so It's kind of the weird part for me. I need a controller.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely want to play it. Dude, this new one though looks phenomenal. Like it looks so good. The way it seems like it's like weirdly story driven, despite the fact that like nobody talks. There's no characters speaking.
Yeah.
It just seems like it's very like story focused though, and it's like a very sad game, which is cool. So I'm intrigued by that one for sure. Then we saw some Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, another trailer.
Yeah.
So I didn't put this on the list because it was at this conference. So let's just kind of jump in, I guess, on the gameplay that EA showed on Saturday for this.
Okay.
What did you think?
Okay, so... Oh, and the game I was thinking about earlier, guys, is called Phantom Dust.
Oh, I know that game. Okay,
Yeah.
I remember what you're talking about. I remember that game.
Yeah, they're supposed to remake that game. But anyway,
Yeah.
So what did I think about the gameplay? First of all, it doesn't give me...
Uh-oh.
Everyone's saying like, oh man, you know what it reminds me of? Force Unleashed. No, the fuck it doesn't. It doesn't remind me of that shit at all.
Just because it's a Star Wars game. Wasn't that game top-down? Or
What?
not top-down, but it was like isometric?
What, Force Unleashed?
Yeah.
No, it was
third person?
It was third person.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was third
I never
person.
knew that.
It was like the God of War of Star Wars games.
Okay.
Like you did some crazy, like I said, you can like take a whole TIE fighter and blow it up on people's heads when you fight like an AT-AT.
I've always wanted to play those games, dude.
Yeah.
Like, they looked cool. But...
like when you're fighting the AT-AT, you get like a button prompt to like, you know, how God of War, when he beats a boss, he gets his button prompt to like do some crazy shit to the boss and tear his head off. You do that to an AT-AT.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so, or AT-ST rather. So like you do that, you just do crazy stuff in that game. And it was just, the combat was really cool. And the way you control the forces was really cool. It was just really cool. The second one was kind of lackluster, but the first one really blew my mind. It blew a lot of other people's minds.
Yeah.
Because it showed like the Force unleashed. Like, like it lived up to his name.
What a name.
Yeah, it did. Like,
nice.
Like imagine he used to hold the force push and form into like a little bubble, and then come out like a Hadouken. Like it was cool, man. Like that shit was cool.
Yeah,
so this game didn't give me that vibe at all. I can see why people are saying, "Hey, it gives me like a not Starcraft. It gives me like a Dark Souls vibe, a Sekiro vibe." It doesn't give me that vibe either.
I hate those games. Can I just say that? I hate them for the reason that everybody uses this as a comparison. Anything that is a third-person fucking action game with a goddamn sword is Dark Souls. No, it isn't. Okay? This game looks nothing like Dark Souls. Nothing. Not a thing.
Nothing.
Like, seriously. Dark Souls is plotting, slow, and difficult.
Yes.
That is what that game is. Very atmospheric. This game has none of that.
No,
it looks... Yes, it doesn't look... It looks weighty. And it looks slower, but it's not
like
Dark Souls.
Yeah, it looks like they focus a lot more on like slower fencing combat.
Yes.
And that's cool. It doesn't give me Sekiro vibes because Sekiro is way more fast paced in this game.
Not at all, dude. Not from what I've seen of that. It reminds me a lot of God of War.
Yeah.
That's what I was seeing.
To me, it's like God of War and Uncharted had a baby.
Yes.
With Star Wars.
No, it's like God of War old and new because there's a lot of like the wall crawling and stuff from the older games, and then the newer stuff is the perspective and the combat it just looks like God of War.
Exactly.
Like, it's like you have a lot of abilities it seems like you can use, but they're not crazy. They're not like out of control, you know? It's like
so another thing, I mean the game looks phenomenal, the graphics, and I mean I kind of expected what I got, honestly. I just wanted something more flashy. Like I wanted some this game, in my opinion, right? It's too safe. It's just too safe from the character.
You're not the only person who said that to me this week about this game. I'm actually of a different mind. I think it looks very interesting. I love the fact that you are one-shotting stormtroopers because you're using a goddamn lightsaber. You should be one-shotting stormtroopers. They're not wearing any kind of force armor or anything like that.
I just feel like it's going to get bland after a while.
No. What I'm going to say, the thing that... Because I'm extrapolating what I saw out.
Okay.
And what I will say... Your character seems way too powerful. Like, you're way too, like, tanky.
Yeah.
Like, you can just sit there and take hits for, like, a minute, and it's just out of control.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
He's taking like blaster shots. And he's just like, like he's just fine. Like he's perfectly fine. He takes like less than 10% of his health and damage, which is ridiculous. So this feels like a game. I'm gonna have to play this game on the hardest difficulty to get the most fun out of it, and it's gonna be. I think when you play it that way, it's gonna be extremely strategic.
Yeah.
Where you are gonna have to very specifically position yourself and use your abilities and like block at specific times and things like that, which is exactly what I think a Jedi-focused Star Wars game should be.
And that's when I saw some of the moves that they were doing.
Yeah.
I said, okay, now I can see what they're doing with this game,
Yes.
especially when he froze the bullet in the air, then moved the stormtrooper towards the bullet, and
Which
then
was so cool.
That was cool,
really cool.
And I'm like, okay, so
Yes.
maybe I am going to be one-shotting stormtroopers, but in hard mode, I got to focus on not getting shot because that'll take 75% of my health.
Exactly what I'm thinking of. It's like what I think this game should be is that enemies die quickly, but you also die quickly.
Yeah.
Because Jedi don't wear armor.
They don't.
They're not wearing
at all.
armor. And dude, it's not like you shouldn't be able to take 15 blaster shots. Like blaster shots are basically an instant kill in Star Wars for the most part.
Yeah.
Even to stormtroopers with armor on, if you shoot in the right place, you're basically dead.
Exactly.
So that's how it should be for your character too. You should only really be able to take 2 or 3 hits for most things.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to play on hard, because I think that's what the game is going to be on hard.
Yeah.
And so that's why I am excited, because I think everything's going to come together on the higher difficulties in this game. This is a game where actually having the higher difficulties just be damage bumps is actually probably a good thing.
Okay.
Because, dude, it seems like on normal it's going to be mind-numbingly boring, where it's like you're just one-shotting everything, and you're like, oh, I took a hit. Oh, big deal. Whatever. I'll just keep swinging.
Yeah, I mean, besides that, I mean, the gameplay looks, like I said, it looks safe. It looks cool, but it looks safe.
I mean, sounds like there's going to be multiple planets.
Yeah.
They did mention that this is only one planet. That you don't even have to do anything on this planet. You could literally leave and never do anything here. And,
okay.
Yeah, so it seems like it's pretty open, too, which is cool. So the thing that
Is it going to be one of those linear open games type
Yeah,
thing?
I think so.
Okay.
But, which is fine. I think, yeah, it's just, the thing that disappointed me with the combat was, I think it should be more like Monster Hunter, and bear with me for a second, I know some people out there are probably rolling their eyes, not in any other way but one, where you are able to target body parts. That is one thing that I felt was really disappointing. The character deaths were really lame. Like, limbs should be flying everywhere when you're fighting with a lightsaber, dude.
I did hear that, like, this is like an early build.
It is an alpha build.
So a lot of people were in comments saying, "Hey, where are the limb deaths?" And
I'm hoping.
And
I'm hoping it's just
Vince was kind of hinting towards that when he was, coming back.
But not
to people.
only just the animations. What I'm saying is, like, when you're fighting some of the bigger monsters that they
like
showed, you should be able to target appendages and cut them off, right? And things like that. And that, I think, is what's not going to be in the game.
Okay.
That's what seems to be, because what they showed was really kind of boring. It was really kind of a dodge, attack kind of thing. And you weren't really targeting anything specific.
So that's why I'm not hating the game, because I see the potential in the game, and I think they see the potential in the game as well.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna overlook this.
Yeah.
I think the next game would definitely be more crazy.
Dude, I'm just thinking about on higher difficulties later on, right? You think stormtroopers are negligible, but it's like, dude, when you think about later on in the game, you're fighting, like, you got like fucking 7 stormtroopers just kind of hidden around everywhere in high ground, and you've got one of those pole guys coming at you, and then you've got like some kind of turret in the background firing at you too. It's like the encounters could be really, really, really difficult.
Yeah.
If they want them to be.
Yeah.
And that excites me, because I think it will make you feel like such a badass when you get through that encounter and you haven't taken a single hit.
Yeah.
You know? That's what the Star Wars game should be.
And that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think I already complained about, the character and how they played that safe and everything like that, so I'm not going to bitch about that.
Sure. Yeah.
But, I mean, the combat is what I expected it to be. I just think it was too safe. But I did, like I said, over the course of time, I let my mood calm down. I'm like, it could be harder. This is probably like an easy difficulty, so whatever. And I watched some more gameplay footage, and it does look fun. Like, I am excited for it. Yeah. It's just, I'm like, man, they could have did a lot more, but maybe they will.
I just do wonder if the aesthetic and the design of the worlds is going to be stale. Like, that's kind of what I'm worried about. It's like, the characters they've shown are a lot of, like, they showed a guy from the movie, which isn't their design, and the characters they have designed that they've shown don't look very interesting. Like, the main character looks so boring and bland, dude. So that's kind of what I'm worried about. Yeah. That's the part that I'm worried about.
Another thing I'm worried about, too, is, like, I know you can, usually on the Force Unleashed and Jedi Outcast, other games like that where you can usually pick, put points into, like, if you want to go down the dark side powers or the light side, and I wonder if they're going to have that type of deal here. Okay.
I doubt it. I sincerely doubt they'll let you do any dark side stuff, because they've talked about this character being a Jedi. They've never mentioned any inclination that he could turn to the dark side or has the choice to make choices or anything like that. They never
not even have to make choices, but like just give him the power. Like
I just don't think
he can be like the first canon gray Jedi.
I think it's going to be all light,
all
light stuff.
Okay,
that's my impression. Maybe they'll prove us wrong.
Yeah, maybe.
That's my thought. Okay. So the next thing they showed was a Blair Witch game.
Yeah, that came out of fucking nowhere.
I just was like, I was watching it, I'm like, what is this game? And then it showed the thing in the corner of the house he was going into.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a second, that looks really familiar. And then they showed the game title, and it was Blair Witch. I was like,
so is this game going to be like an Outlast game?
I have no idea. It looks like, I mean, obviously it's a horror game of some sort.
Yeah, maybe it's like Outlast, that would be pretty cool.
I'm not like, I mean, I don't care for horror games, so this doesn't appeal to me at all.
I like playing horror games. I like playing it with other people.
It's just random though. Blair Witch, I mean, that's from like 20 years ago.
Bro,
how is that relevant anymore?
People still remember Blair Witch.
So, I mean, dude, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
It was a big deal. It was a big deal back in the day. But, yeah, I don't know. But, all right. The next thing that happened was probably one of the more memorable moments from E3 entirely. So, they started showing a Cyberpunk trailer, and they ended it by showing Keanu Reeves is in the game, and then he came out on stage, and man, he was awesome. It was a hilarious moment. But the biggest thing to come out of this was that the game is dated. Got a date. April 16th, 2020. That is way, way sooner than I ever realistically thought.
You said last week, maybe
I was thinking 2021, like late next year or 2021, early 2021. That was my thought. And then rumors started coming out last week that they were trying to hit this year, and they internally didn't think it was realistic, so they pushed it to next year, or this date next year. So
one thing I hope they didn't crunch everybody though.
Well, there's that, and also, but I was thinking about it today. I was like, dude, by the time this game comes out, it will have been 5 years since The Witcher 3 came out.
You're right.
Which I didn't realize, like, yeah, it's been that long.
2015,
dude. That's
man.
crazy. That's like 5 years they've had. And they were working on this game before Witcher came out, too. So they've had a ton of time to work on this game. So, dude, I thought
Keanu Reeves was just amazing on stage, man.
Dude, I loved it. It was so... Dude, he was so awkward, but it just worked. He was just like... Cyberpunk 2077, and he's like didn't know what to say. He wasn't like reading the prompter like everybody else does.
It seemed so natural.
It was just like, dude, he was like everybody was cheering, and he was like, all right guys, I got more to say. I got more to say. And he was like trying to find the words, and then he was just like, release date. Yeah, you want it? And they were like, yeah. Everybody went crazy, and he's just like, all right, look at this. And it was like, dude, it was so good.
Yeah, man. If you're gonna have a star on stage, like he's one of the people out.
Dude, he was great.
And the simple fact that he's in another video game. Last time I seen him in a video game was The Path of Neo and Matrix. And so
let's give him a better game to be remembered for than that. Holy shit.
Oh, man. So man. I'm glad he's in this game, and I'm glad it seemed like he enjoyed it. Enjoyed being in it, so yeah, that's cool.
Just the style of this game is like so cool, man.
Yeah, man. I can't wait.
I'm so excited for this game. It's like stupid.
I've been waiting for a Cyberpunk type
Holy
game.
Holy crap, man! Like, dude, it's just they have a way with their design of the art and the aesthetic that they just knock it out of the park. Like The Witcher had the same thing, obviously in a different way, being a fantasy universe.
But their take on it was really cool.
Yeah, they just nailed it. It's like it has a very specific look. It's not like high fantasy.
Yeah,
like other high fantasy.
It's
things.
like
everything's
real
dirty.
World. Yeah,
everything's really dirty. It's like, and it's the same thing with this game. Everything's kind of dirty. Right? I was telling you, like, this is like Deus Ex but dirty.
Yeah,
like Deus Ex is like the shiny cyberpunk, and this is like dirty cyberpunk.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Man, dude, yeah, I'm excited. Everybody else obviously is too. I think I'm worried about this game's hype train getting out of control.
Oh yeah,
like, cause dude, oh man, I think the expectations are going to be out of control. The thing is though, CD Projekt, they tend to deliver though, because it was a similar thing with Witcher.
Yeah,
Witcher's expectations were out of control. And dude, they delivered.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing with this game. I'm thinking about it. It's just like, dude, I can see this being a 40, 50 hour game that's just so dense.
Yeah.
Like has so much in it. So, man, I'm exhausted talking about it.
The Witcher. Man. That's an interesting game.
God damn it.
Anyway,
I hate you. All right, let's move on. All right, Battletoads was shown.
Whatever.
This next one. Oh my god, this game.
Flight Simulator? Holy shit!
No. Was that before? Was that after Battletoads? I don't, dude. I'm following like a live blog right now, and I don't know.
I don't know if it was before, but
I don't know. No, it wasn't. Okay, never mind. No. So let me talk about this other game first.
All right.
So it was a hand-drawn RPG called RPG Time: The Legend of Wright, and this looks so cool. You saw this?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Holy crap, dude! This looks like really interesting. Looks like a hand-drawn tabletop RPG kind of story game. And I mean, they didn't really show gameplay, but just, dude, there's just the style of it is so distinct. So I'm really keeping my eye on this game. They didn't give a date or anything like that, but I will be keeping my eye on this one.
Yeah, now we're getting to the meat, man.
But hey, man, there's been plenty of meat.
Now we're getting to that Age of Empires, man. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, yeah. So this was an interesting part of the conference. So basically, they came out and said that Borderlands: The Handsome Collection, Hollow Knight, Metro Exodus, Batman: Arkham Knight are all being added to Microsoft's Xbox Game Pass. Then they announced that the service is coming to PC, and it's going to be $10 a month. And it's not going to have the same library as the Xbox version, but it will have over 100 games. And dude, I'm already like, this was a great idea,
including the Master Chief Collection
on PC. I think Age of Empires, right, as well. Age of Empires 2 as well. And then they also announced that Xbox Game Pass is going to get this thing called Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which is going to be $15 a month. It's going to include Xbox Live, Game Pass on Xbox, and then Game Pass on PC. And I mean, if you do the math, if you already
$15 a month.
Yeah, $15 a month.
I might do that shit.
Dude, if you do the math, Xbox Game Pass normally is $10.
Yeah.
If you were already going to do that anyways, the Xbox Live is just basically adding it in.
Yeah.
Because it's $5 a month for Xbox Live, and that's $60, which is what it costs per year for the main Xbox Live. So you're not saving anything, but it's just kind of a convenience thing. But it's a good price because it's not more expensive than Xbox Live would be, right?
I'm just glad that PC fanboys can now play Master Chief again. Because holy shit, y'all been complaining about that shit.
That's a big deal, dude.
I know. People been complaining about Halo not being on PC since Halo 1 or Halo 2 actually. Halo 2.
Yeah, Halo 2.
Yeah, so I'm glad that it's probably coming back and PC fanboys can experience Master Chief 3 or Master Chief 3, Halo 3, Halo Reach, ODST.
Imagine if they were called Master Chief. Master Chief.
And I think
I just think Xbox Game Pass is such an awesome thing, and the fact that it's on PC now. Excuse me. If I want to play any of Microsoft's games, like, dude, I might just subscribe to this for a month and download it and play it and then unsubscribe. You know, it's like such a good way to get access to their catalog.
It's a win-win because now you're on their infrastructure now, and you can see what they have to offer, and you might stay or you might not.
That's the reason why it's so smart. I think a lot of people were like not thinking this is that. Like a lot of people, this is going under the radar for a lot of people, and I think a lot of people aren't seeing the big picture with Microsoft is that Xbox isn't their primary concern.
Yes.
They're being very agnostic. They want to be everywhere, right? That seems to be their goal. And dude, things like that Minecraft game we talked about, they're publishing that on other devices.
Yeah.
Like that's going to be on PS4 and Switch and PC. Which, I mean, it's a first-party studio. That's weird. Yeah. Even though it's Mojang and we know Minecraft is still on everything, this is a new game that they're publishing on everything. So, dude, they're dipping their toes in a lot of interesting places, and dude, they're giving so much love to PC, which is huge. Like, it's huge.
It is.
I went on Reddit for the mega thread for this Xbox conference, and dude, there's so many people in there, PC players, that are like, man, dude, I'm really like interested in this Game Pass thing. Like, they're doing a lot of cool stuff. Like, they're bringing games I wanted to see on PC, and it's like they're not fucking up. Like, I think a lot of people were really mean about Xbox's conference. They
were.
It's like, dude, they are doing some good stuff.
They hit a lot of points for like an unsung majority, which is the PC audience.
Sure, they're not stealing PS4 players away from Sony, but they don't give a shit.
Exactly.
They don't need that audience.
They know that audience. They know the audience they want to grab is the PC people, and they're doing it.
It's smart. It's very smart.
I think it's one.
And dude, the other thing is they said all these games are going on Steam.
Right? Oh yeah, and that's really cool because of Epic right now, right? So you have a lot of people who are already established on Steam who don't want to move over to Epic, and now you're like, oh, your stuff's going to be on Steam too? Like, that's cool.
Considering all the belly aching about Epic, like this was Microsoft putting their flag down and being like, hey, we're with you guys.
Because I didn't see, I actually went on the Reddit PC thread, or the PC gaming Reddit, and I didn't see almost anyone talking about the PC show. They were talking about the Xbox show.
It was hosted by Epic.
Exactly.
And all the games shown are probably only, well, not all of them.
Not all of them, but
a lot of them are probably Epic exclusive. It's like, dude, I don't know. It's interesting. But yeah, no, Microsoft, dude, they're playing things very intelligently.
Yeah.
And anybody that thinks otherwise, like, dude, you're fooling yourself. Like, Sony not being here obviously made sense for them this year. Yeah. But what that did is that all these games get associated with Xbox, Cyberpunk, and
can we just stop the whole Sony one and they weren't even here? Like, I see that
people saying that.
People are saying that, and it's annoying the shit. I normally do not get annoyed, but holy shit, that shit is annoying the fuck out of me. Like, people are like, "Oh, Sony won and they weren't even here." No, they didn't,
dude.
They didn't do anything.
The C3 was awesome. I don't understand what is wrong with people, dude. We got so many dates on games that I didn't think we would get dates for.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is nuts, and a lot of them are sooner than we thought too.
Yeah, a lot of these games come out this year.
God, dude, people are so obnoxious. Like, dude, it's like if Sony had this conference, the same fucking conference.
I said that. I said Sony
people would be losing their minds. They go, "Oh my god, Sony's so good." It's like, dude, you don't get to give Sony credit for the third-party games they show and not give Xbox credit for the third-party games they show. Like, it was their conference. They showed Cyberpunk. Sony didn't. Yes, it's going to be on PlayStation, but they're the ones who had Keanu Reeves on stage. Like, I don't understand. Like, it's just such a ridiculous bias towards Microsoft that is just so obnoxious to me. And it's just coming from somebody that plays console almost exclusively on PlayStation. Yeah, like, you guys just get your heads out of your asses. Like, this console war stuff is so juvenile, and I'm tired of it. I'm over it. Yeah, okay, man. This conference was good. Okay, everything we've talked about so far is like, dude, there's a lot of awesome shit in here.
I think this conference also proved that they're trying to move away from the console war.
I agree.
Thing.
They really didn't focus on Xbox very much at all. Exactly. I know they announced their next thing, which we'll get to in a bit, but dude, it did not feel like an Xbox centric conference. Yeah, like it felt very, like I said, agnostic. Like
they focused on games,
dude. And Phil Spencer keeps saying that every time he comes on stage, he's like, "We are about gaming as a whole. Yeah, we want gaming to flourish. Yeah, like one device." And he said it in an interview afterwards that us selling Xboxes is not our primary goal. Like, yes, we'd love that, but it's like that's not what we're trying to do here. Like,
maybe Phil Spencer's the unsung hero for gaming. He's trying to
real,
actually save it.
He is, man. And it's like you've got Sony over there, like Silo. They won't even let people do crossplay. Like at the last minute, they allow cross save on Destiny 2 the day before, and it's like everybody's like, "Oh, Sony."
I mean, this may be getting a little off topic, but I feel like a lot of developers and maybe like Phil Spencer's type people are seeing where the industry's going. Maybe it's a little bit too many suits and executives come into the industry and kind of tearing it up, and they're like, okay, we got to do something about this. Yeah. And they're doing it in a very integral,
small ways.
Yeah. So
they're taking places that those people don't care about.
Exactly.
Right. With the PC market being a perfect example. Nobody in Ubisoft, EA, Activision, they don't give a shit about PC.
Yeah, exactly.
Sony doesn't give a shit about PC. Nintendo doesn't give a shit about PC. I mean, it's there for the taking. That's why Epic's trying. That's why Epic's trying.
Exactly.
Because it's there for the taking. and Microsoft's like, we already kind of, I mean, we we own the operating system that all these games run on. Like, it's an obvious connection.
Yeah.
That they're smart to get involved with. So I'm just like, look, I get it if you're an Xbox hater, I get it. But dude, it's like, you are blind if you think they're not doing some cool stuff.
This is totally different from the 2013 Xbox. Mm-hmm. Like, this team is completely different now.
Yeah.
And we need to recognize that.
100%. And they're going the right way. Yeah, sure, they're not selling as many Xboxes as PS4s, but that's not the only mark of success.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? That I think we get too obsessed with the numbers sometimes.
I just don't want gaming to be about numbers. Like, obviously we see the end effect of that, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, sales do matter. But I mean, I want great games to come out of this, and this conference showed me that people are focusing on great games again. So.
Yes, dude, that's what I came away from this entire E3 with. Yeah. Was like, the end of this generation is going to be amazing.
Exactly.
I was like, dude, my expectations, like, I was thinking the next couple of years were going to be slow and not exciting. Dude, I came away like, holy crap! September through April is going to be insane.
And just imagine the technology you have and with the other consoles, what developers can do.
Yep.
So. I don't know, man. Well, I'm having a positive outlook on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to save my last thought for later when we talk about like the conference overall. So next thing they showed was Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Oh, yeah.
Which I'm pretty sure the series has been dead for like 15 years.
You know it was very popular, though.
I know, I know it was. I had a friend in high school, dude. That was obsessed with Microsoft Flight Simulator. He wanted to be a pilot. And I actually think he is a pilot now. But it's like, dude, it's like, it's hilarious. When I saw this, I was like, is this Microsoft Flight Simulator at an E3 conference? What is going on? And I was like, dude, this looks awesome.
People were joking about it, right?
But it looks so cool, though.
People were joking about it, but I'm like, yo, you are dead ass laughing about it, but this shit's probably gonna sell like hotcakes.
100%. It's a terrible name, but everybody knows what it is.
Exactly.
Microsoft Flight Simulator is a terrible name for a video game, but it's so iconic, though.
Exactly.
It's iconic. It is an iconic thing, and the fact that they're bringing it back, it's like another thing. It's smart. It's like it makes sense. Like,
only thing if they had announced like the little pinball game they used to have back in the early 2000s, then I probably would have lost my shit too.
Yeah, dude, it's just such a. It's like it looked really cool too. Yeah. Like I was like surprised at how interesting it looked.
Yeah, I was like, man, I may buy this game.
Like, dude, it's just like I was thinking about the worlds, like the areas, like the land they were building, and the cities and the places and everything. Yeah. It's like, damn, this actually looks like it must have taken a lot of work.
Yeah,
you know, to get the detail in there. Like they showed Egypt and all sorts of places, dude. It's like this is really cool. So, yeah, that's a weird one, but then they announced Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition, which is somehow different from the HD edition that came out a few years ago. It's going to be 4K in 4K with remaster audio, and it's also going to have a new campaign.
Okay, cool.
They said, which is like, dude, what is happening with these games? Like, Borderlands 2 is getting new DLC. You got a game from 20 years ago in Age of Empires getting new content.
Age of Empires is what got me into strategy RPGs.
For sure. For sure. THQ Nordic is freaking making new content for Titan Quest.
Really?
Yeah, they've been doing this for like 3 years. Like, I don't understand what's going on. Like, what is old is new, and what is new is old. I don't know. Okay. Next thing. Oh boy, this next one. This was shocking. So Tim Schafer comes out on stage, and dude, they announced that Double Fine has joined the Xbox Game Studio family as a first party.
Yeah.
This is wild. I couldn't believe this. Like, dude, I never thought... Because, dude, Double Fine is one of those studios, they give me the impression that they're always kind of on the edge of closing.
Yeah.
But
that's actually what the little article says, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Microsoft canceled their last game.
That's hilarious. But They seem like they're super creative and they make really interesting games and people really like their games, but I just never got the impression that they were interested in being acquired. Like they always look like they're trying to find funding for their games constantly and publishers and stuff like that, and they seem to struggle to get interest sometimes. But it's like weird that Microsoft would buy them, and the fact that they let themselves get bought is... I feel like Microsoft right now is not going to compromise their creative vision, but Phil Spencer's not going to be there forever.
Yeah.
And this is a decision letting Microsoft buy you that is a permanent thing.
Yeah.
You know? You don't get to get away from that, generally speaking. It's very rare that happens. So
I think now, though, going forward, even if Phil Spencer, the reason why I'm not really worried about Microsoft's future as far as gaming and things of that nature, and I think this is going to be a positive outlook for other companies as well. They're getting people who are actually in the industry, not just an executive head. To get Phil Spencer to replace Don Matrick was phenomenal as far as that, and I'm pretty sure he had something to do behind Psychonauts. I remember he mentioned way back in the day that he loved Psychonauts and things of that nature. Yeah. So,
well, they showed Psychonauts 2. It looks weird. I've never played Psychonauts, so I was like, I don't understand what's going on right now. Like,
it has a huge cult following.
I know. Yeah, I know. I think though that this is not going to be an exclusive for Xbox. This was already...
I don't think it is.
Because it was already... They were self-publishing it prior to Microsoft acquiring them. And I don't think Microsoft is publishing it necessarily.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's still going to be multi-platform. It's just... Because they also have that other game, Rad, I think, in development as well. So that's still going to be multi-plat. I think that game's spoken for by another publisher as well. So it's a weird acquisition because I don't know how well they fit in Microsoft's stable.
I think Microsoft needed some kind of publishing, some kind of platforming, and this offers that.
I mean, they have Ori though.
Yeah, but it's not on the level of Psychonauts. Like Psychonauts has a.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Next thing they showed was a new Lego Star Wars game that's gonna have all 9 films in it.
I was so hyped about this shit,
dude. They already did this?
I don't fucking care. I love Lego
Star Wars. They have 3 different games with all
care.
9 games in it. So they're remaking.
I love Lego games.
They're remaking the goddamn movies again.
Lego games are fucking fun.
I don't,
bro. I don't fucking care.
I've never played one. I'm gonna be honest.
You need to play with somebody.
There's so many.
I will play with you.
There's so many of these goddamn games.
Just pick a franchise you like, and we can play through that shit.
I mean, they got the DC one. They got the
DC,
Batman.
They got Batman.
They don't have the Lord of the Rings anymore.
We should play through that one because that was actually the good one.
Oh, the Harry Potter ones. I always wanted to play the Harry Potter.
I have the Harry Potter ones on Switch.
On PS4?
On Switch.
On Switch.
Yeah.
Okay.
I bought it.
Hey, man, I'll do some co-op.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Next thing.
Oh my fucking god.
Oh boy. Yeah. Montrell was so triggered about this one. Dragon Ball Z. So we talked about this a way back that Bandai Namco announced. They announced a Dragon Ball Z action RPG, and they gave us a trailer. It's called Kakarot. I don't okay. And it looks like it spans the first couple sagas, the Saiyan saga and the Frieza saga.
Yeah.
And it just looks like Tenkaichi.
It reminds me of
or
Budokai.
Xenoverse.
You remember Budokai went through the Saiyan saga and the Namek saga?
Yes. But it's like, you said this on Twitter. How many times are they going to tell this story, dude?
How many?
I know that these 2 sagas in particular are like the best part of Dragon Ball.
They are.
They are.
They're
the best arcs by far.
Yeah.
But how many times are you going to recycle this? I was thinking 30 years from now, we're going to have 25 of these goddamn Dragon Ball games that all tell the same 2 arcs. It's come on, dude.
And people are defending like it's the greatest shonen anime. I'm like, okay, cool. You can have that.
Is it though? Is it really? I love DBZ, but is it though? Is it really? Like, come on.
I mean, like I said, that's subjective.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
But I'm like, bro, can we get like a GT arc or like make up an arc or something?
GT arc? Nobody wants that, bro.
I don't.
Super.
Okay, yeah.
Just like Super.
Give me Super, or give me Dragon Ball. Give me Dragon Ball.
Yes.
Like,
dude.
That's why I thought this was gonna go into Dragon. Like, I thought Dragon Ball was gonna start and then it goes into like the Saiyan arc.
Dude, I've always wanted a Dragon Ball action adventure game.
Because it would play so differently from everything else.
It's just like an open world game that goes through the entire story of Dragon Ball.
Yes.
And it's an action game, like a 3D fighter.
Yeah, and Goku really can't fly, so he has to use like maneuver. He has to jump around and stuff.
But you get Nimbus later. Maybe.
Bro, why haven't they done this?
I don't know! Dude, Dragon Ball's so good. The original, like, forget Z. Like, dude, I love Dragon Ball. Like, I was surprised because, dude, I didn't see Dragon Ball until way later. Like, I was like in high school. So good. And dude, it's so good. It's so good. The progression of the story and like Goku's powering up and everything. Dude, there's like legitimate training arcs and like Roshi's like a relevant character. The World Martial Arts tournaments. Ugh. The other part about this too. What is the RPG in this? They didn't show us any of that. How is this an RPG?
It looks like Tenkaichi. It looks like Xenoverse. Like, they all have the same gameplay, in my opinion. Like, they all have the same staple, I should say. And then it's, like, different things they do around that. But it's the same thing. I'm like, bro, how many times can we recreate this? Like, I'm upset with Namco because they have, like, some kind of deal with, like, Shonen Jump, who has these different ones. Like, give me, like, a Yu Hakusho video game. Or give me a Sailor Moon video game or something like that. Like... I don't know, like, they can do so many different things. Like, I was thinking, like, just off the top of my head, what if they did, like, a Sailor Moon game, right? The same people who made Nier make the Sailor Moon game. Like, that would be fucking dope. But, I mean, how many times can we tell this story? How many times can people get excited for this? It's like, to me, it's Jump Force all over again.
I agree.
It's going to sell like hotcakes.
I mean, dude, if they show it more in depth and it's actually a legitimate RPG, I'll be on board. But I just don't expect that. Based on this trailer, it just looks like a fighting game.
I'm just going to watch it. I'm just going to watch it on Twitch or something like that. It looks like a single-player
fighting game. So, I don't know. All right, let's move on. The next one, dude, this is another one of these indies.
12 minutes?
12 minutes.
Yes, that looks really...
Holy shit. I saw this game like 4 years ago on a Kind of Funny stream.
Really?
Their GDC stream, like the first year they broke out from IGN. And this guy, it was a single dude who brought this game to them and showed them. And dude, it was like, it looked terrible. It looked like a PS2 game, but it looked really interesting even at the time.
Yeah.
However, this trailer that they showed at this conference, this game looks legit now.
Yes.
Like, and dude, so what this game is basically it's like a thriller. Essentially, it takes place over 12 minutes, like 12 real life minutes, and you are stuck in a time loop. So cool. You basically have to get out of the time loop. Like, that's the concept of the game. You have to figure out how to get out of the time loop and like not die at the end of it. And it's
one of those interactive games. So it's if you remember like the old Sega CD games, how those interactive games, detective games, it's like that, but like really, really live action.
Yeah. So, dude, I'm really excited about this one. Like,
So the game that I'm really excited about is the next one.
The game about magical deer.
Yes, that shit looks fucking awesome. I can't wait to play that shit.
It looked interesting. I doubt I'm gonna play it.
I'm gonna play the fuck out that shit.
It looked interesting.
That shit looked really cool. And I was more excited about this than fucking Dragon Ball Z. Like, I was like...
I mean, yeah, sure. Dude, that Dragon Ball Z trailer was terrible. Like, it didn't show anything. It was literally just a bunch of flying around, dodging energy blasts. Like...
Yeah, like, I'm going to play the fuck out this game. It looks like one of those puzzle game, platforming games, and I'm going to play the fuck out of it. And I think it was made by one guy. And, yeah, I can't wait to play it.
And then the next thing after that was Gears 5. They talked about this a lot, dude. They gave it a lot of love here. They showed a story trailer, and then they detailed in a multiplayer mode called Escape or something like that. It's a three player co-op mode where you turn a toxic bomb off and there's this toxic gas kind of chasing you.
Yeah.
You have to get out of a locust nest, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like typical Gears. I mean,
dude, one thing I noticed, dude, there were like damage numbers coming off the enemies.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't notice that
in the multiplayer trailer, and I was like, what, like, is that going to be is that whole game going to be like that? Because it's like, why? Is this an RPG all of a sudden?
No, it's probably going to RPG for that mode. It's probably going to be like some kind of RPG element to it.
Okay. I mean, I hope so, because that was really jarring for me. I was like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah.
Or is this one of those things like numbers and shooters are cool now, so we all have to do this? Like, no.
No, I just think it's for that mode. I can't imagine them doing that to their whole entire game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be interesting. But it also got dated. I think it was September 20th, I want to say.
Yes.
Something around there.
Something around there.
It was in September, so if you're into Gears, look forward to that. The next thing was, let's see, Dying Light 2. They showed a trailer for Dying Light 2, which is being published by Square. It didn't really show much. Yeah,
it just showed like a story.
I'm already sold on this trailer. Game. It did give a time window, though. Spring 2020 is when it's coming out.
Cool.
So this is another game to add to that window. It's just ridiculous, dude.
Yeah.
This is turning into 2017 all over again. Like, dude, you remember 2017, right?
Greatest year.
It was just ridiculous. Yeah. It was like Horizon, Zelda, Nier, Mass Effect Andromeda, Neo. I think Yooka-Laylee came out that year too.
Yep.
Persona 5 was that same period. It was like April.
Yeah.
Dude, it was ridiculous. Oh my god, I couldn't keep up. I still have games from that year on my backlog. Like,
man,
it's
my
ridiculous.
wallet was like, please stop. And I'm like, man, I can't, man.
Well, dude, that's what's happening end of this year, early next year. Dude, it's horrifying. I'm like, oh god, how am I going to play all these games?
Yeah.
But I was already sold on the game, but yeah, the trailer was fine. Then the next thing, more Lego stuff. They're doing a Lego collaboration with Forza Horizon 4, and it looks really cool. I was like, dude, this looks awesome. Driving around, knocking Lego bricks apart with cars, like, dude, this sounds really cool.
Yeah, man. I was really stoked about it.
I didn't play Forza Horizon 4.
I didn't either.
I was interested in it, but yeah, I never got around to it.
I said that, and I told Dennis, and I'm like, man, you know, just saved your game, that Lego collection thing.
Was he mad? Did he
no,
he
just looked at me. He just looked at me like, Montrell, shut up.
He wanted to kill you. Okay. Yeah. I mean, how does he? Did he tell you how he felt about the Legos?
No.
Okay. Because dude,
I was just teasing him.
Looks really cool.
Yeah, it does.
It's interesting. I mean, dude, this is what pisses me off about Lego. They used to have all these cool ass games back in the day. Back in the like late '90s, they had a Lego racer, like a kart racer. They had these. You remember the Lego Island games?
Yeah,
dude, where it's like literally like a detective game with Legos, and you had to like build things to like get through certain parts of the game. And dude,
yeah, they definitely. Man. I mean, now their IPs are whoever making their video games, they know how to do it. Like, I love the Lego,
but they're all the same though. They're just like third person action.
Yeah, they
games.
are.
Like,
but they're pretty funny though. That's why I like them. They're pretty funny, especially the movies. But that's neither here nor there.
All right, biggest announcement of E3.
Oh yeah, definitely. In my opinion,
Phantasy Star Online 2 is coming to the West.
Yes.
What the dude? I lost my mind. I was like, what? This is at the Xbox conference? What is happening?
PlayStation dropped the ball in this.
Totally. 100%.
Why isn't that on? Why?
Because I read afterwards that it's coming to PC.
Okay.
And Xbox, but I'm not sure it's actually coming to PS4 and Switch. So it sounds like Microsoft made this happen, potentially.
Yeah.
And, dude, if that's true, they are fucking heroes. Because this is a game that, dude, for any Phantasy Star fan, any Phantasy Star Online fan has been crying for years.
Well, the thing is, too, right? It's not like Phantasy Star and Xbox don't have a history. Phantasy Star Universe was on the original 360.
360, yeah.
And that game was insanely popular when it first came out on the 360. And I loved it. I played the shit out of it. And so it only makes sense that, hey, let's jump back on that Phantasy Star train. So I'm really excited for it. PlayStation dropped the ball because I remember rumors were coming out. They're like, oh yeah, PlayStation's gonna get it over here to the West, and
Which, dude, in Japan, it's on every device imaginable. Like,
really?
I think it's on phones. Like, dude, you can play it on phones, Vita, Switch, PS4, whatever, dude. Like, it's on everything. Like, the game is insanely popular. Like, it's ridiculous. The fact that it took them this long to localize this is so dumb to me. Like, they dropped the ball so hard on this.
You're right, because they had a Phantasy Star X Monster Hunter event just a couple, like, last year, I think.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, I think they're out of their minds, dude. Like what took you so long, Sega? Dude, this game is gonna, like, I don't know if it's gonna be huge now. They might have waited too long.
Yeah,
but
because there's a lot of games out here like
I'm gonna check it out.
I'm still gonna play.
It's free to play.
Yeah,
free shit. I mean, there's plenty of shit to play, but this is one of those games. This game is so bite sized and like the way it's designed. Because I played the Japanese version.
Okay,
I'm just throwing that out there. I played it with the translation patch, which is. Half of it's not even translated, so it's really difficult to play.
Okay.
But the game isn't really that fun. Like, it's not really that good of a game, but it's like, it's so easy to just jump in and do like a mission in like 30 minutes and jump out that you could play this like, dude, if they put this on Switch, perfect Switch game. Just play it for 30 minutes.
Why? I mean, I don't. Is it just Sega not localizing it? They don't want to do it, or is it people?
I don't know. They didn't think there was enough interest, apparently.
Even
though the internet, dude, there's literally forums dedicated to figuring out how to get yourself registered with a Japanese version of the game to play the game.
Yeah.
I spent literally 6 hours one day, like, trying to get the Japanese account set up.
I did it. I actually did it, and it worked for me.
Yeah, no, it worked for me, too.
And I only played it for, like, 30 minutes.
I actually played it for like a couple weeks.
Oh, really?
And I think I got to level like 30 or something.
Okay.
And the game's like weird for sure.
Yeah.
But it's, I mean, dude, it will translate over here though. Like, people want this game. I don't know why. I don't get it.
For years, people wanted this game. For years.
The game's been out for 7 years in Japan too.
I remember when it was first announced and I saw the gameplay for it. I was like, yo, why?
Dude, I've been crying for it forever.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's on Vita, dude. Like, it's on Vita. All you have to do is translate it. That's it.
I just don't... I honestly don't understand. And this is why... And people are like, Sony won. They lost. Like,
they didn't get to show this game.
Yes. Like, why haven't they acquired this game? Like, at all? It's already on your infrastructure if it's on the Vita. So why haven't you just like, hey, let's just toss...
They should have done this years ago.
And if
Microsoft is the reason this is happening, I don't understand what Sony's doing.
Yeah.
Like, they're letting Microsoft bring over this game? That's crazy. I mean, I don't know for sure, because I read a couple articles that said it was PC and Xbox.
Okay.
But we'll find out, I guess, come more sooner, because they were saying it was coming out in 2020, early 2020. So I guess as we get closer to that, we'll find out more details.
Well, I mean, I still consider that an exclusive, because people still consider Final Fantasy 14 the exclusive for Sony, even though it's on PC as well.
Yeah,
because it's not on the Xbox, and I think Xbox dropped the ball on that.
PC's its own thing, dude.
Yeah,
it doesn't. It's not on the other devices.
Yeah,
like, that's really what matters. Okay, moving on. Another game. So, Tales of Arise got a trailer, and this looks completely different from Tales that we've seen.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
This game looks phenomenal.
The characters are very anime still, but the look of everything else, way more realistic. That cel-shaded style is gone, and it seems like, I mean, I got a lot to say about Tales. I'm not going to go too crazy right now, but Bandai Namco really fucked up this series, in my opinion. They screwed the pooch so hard with this gen. With this, they got to the point where they were almost annualizing these games.
Yes,
early in the generation, and it was showing real hard. Like, dude, Tales of Zestiria and even Xillia 2, and dude, they're just not great games. They're really not. And then Berseria came out, and people did like that one, but it just doesn't look that good.
Yeah,
like, they're just not that good. And it's been, dude, Berseria was the last one they released. That was 2017.
Yeah, I remember a lot of people didn't like that game.
Yeah. That was early 2017, and yeah, people didn't like it. This one, it looks like they went back to the drawing board, and they're really finally, like, this is what I said to my brother. It's like, it took us the entirety of this generation to finally get a decent Tales game that looks like it belongs on this generation. Yeah. Because honestly, all the rest of them that they've released, they look like PS3 games.
Yes.
To me.
Yeah.
Like, so,
I was wondering when they were going to, like, actually
make the jump. Well, dude, even the combat, like the combat that we saw, the small snippets, dude, it looks way more dynamic. which is super exciting. So I want to see more.
I'm just looking at it now.
Dude, it's it's wild.
If you guys,
that boar, dude, that looks crazy. It's so good.
The graphics
looks so
look
good.
fucking insane, man. Yeah. Like, I can't believe this is on consoles. To be honest with you, it looks like a cinematic trailer. Like,
I agree with you. And then the next thing that showed, I think, was another Borderlands 3 trailer, but they did show that Borderlands 2 is getting DLC called Commander Lilith and the Fight for Sanctuary, and that this is a free DLC that is going to be part of the Handsome Collection. It's not on the old consoles. It's not a PS3 or Xbox 360, unfortunately, or Vita. But any device that has the Handsome Collection, basically, so PC, Xbox One, and PS4 are getting this for free. But I want to point out, they didn't say this, but I downloaded it this weekend. In the fine print, it says it's only free until July 8th, I think.
Gotcha. Okay.
So if you guys have the Handsome Collection, which it's free on PS4 right now, and it's basically free on PC, it's like $6 or whatever. Pick up the deal. Make sure you pick up the DLC now, because I think it's going to be $15 after it's after the free period.
Yeah.
So I will say I found it weird. I would have just made it free until Borderlands 3 comes out. Like, I don't know why you're only doing a month.
2K.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, you're probably right. Like, a lot of hype's going to get generated off this. People aren't going to know that it's not free, and they're not going to pick it up, and then they're going to have to buy it later.
Yeah.
But I will say, though, from Gearbox's perspective, dude, they are marketing this game perfectly. Like,
yes, and
holy crap.
They swept a lot of stuff under the rug. They probably shut up Randy for a minute.
Oh, yeah. We haven't heard anything from him in a month or two.
Told him to go sit down somewhere.
Yeah.
So.
And, dude, it's like... Yeah, because the hype for this game had kind of died down a little, and dude, this is just shooting it back up.
Yeah,
like it's
I honestly can't, and it was just weird. It's like you would think I'm like a huge Borderlands fan, like I just
You've never played any of them, really.
I'm really hyped just from the small, like the 10 or 15 hours you played for Borderlands 2. I'm like, yo, like
that game is going to be way better.
Yes,
in Borderlands 3. Like,
and you were right. It was the character I picked. Like, I really love Maya.
Dude, she's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my god, she's so good. She's so fun to play.
Yeah.
Holy crap. So there was that. Then the next thing was, the Elden Ring. So this had been rumored and, leaked.
It was leaked, yeah.
This is the game that is From Software with George R. R. Martin writing.
Yeah.
So... I'm just gonna put this out there. We have no idea how much George was involved.
Exactly, we don't.
He hasn't said much about it at all.
But it doesn't matter because Miyazaki he's the lead designer behind this.
Miyazaki did say, I think he said that George wrote a lot of the lore, not necessarily the story, but the lore for the world.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where the collab seems like it's coming from. But I just don't take much from that. We've heard that from other games before, and it ended up not really being true. So, yeah. I don't know. I mean, they didn't show anything. It's like they just showed a trailer, like a cinematic trailer. So until we see what the game actually is,
I'm still super hyped.
I mean, of course, yeah. You're a fucking hypocrite, dude. You're sitting over here like, God, they didn't show any gameplay. It's terrible. And then Elden Ring shows like a cinematic trailer. You're like, oh my God, it's amazing.
It's different because this team has never let me down.
I mean, 100%. From Software, like, they don't really make bad games.
Exactly.
So it's auto hype, but it is justified auto hype. But at the same time, it's like, I mean, we have no idea what this is.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, it's like, I mean, it's probably a Dark Souls-esque game,
and I am all for it, baby.
You know,
give me that. Give me some more of it. I'm simulating a needle going to my arm right now. Give me some more.
Injected.
Give me that. Give me
right
that.
into my veins.
Yeah.
All right, next thing. We only got a couple left. They talked about their cloud streaming. I think it's coming in the fall, they said.
Okay.
So that's interesting. We'll learn more about it, I'm sure, as we get closer. And then the last thing they showed was a little montage for Project Scarlet, which is their next Xbox, and they said it's coming in holiday 2020. So we're confirmed. Next gen starts holiday 2020.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, we all figured that at this point. But to get confirmation is nice. They did say it's going to have an SSD. They said it's going to be 4 times more powerful than the Xbox One X.
Yes.
They also said that it's going to do 8K 120 frames per second, which is absolutely insane.
I don't need to
They
do
are
all
lying.
that.
They're straight up
I don't
lying.
Need to do all that.
They're straight up lying. Computers, literally the most powerful computers you can build now can't do that.
Okay.
And also, 8K TVs are insanely expensive.
Yeah.
Like,
that's why I say, like, I don't really care about that. As long as
ridiculous marketing speak.
as long as it gives me 1080p.
They're both doing it too. Sony did the same thing.
Yeah.
They're full of it, dude.
Yeah.
But whatever. Thing is, this thing's gonna be really powerful. I will say, I just want to make a small point. I don't want to stick on this too long, but I'm at the point now where I really think these two consoles are gonna be pretty expensive. I'm thinking $500 minimum, and I'm thinking more realistically like $600. That's what it's starting to sound like.
Yeah.
The way they're talking about how powerful these things are, I just don't see how they're gonna fit that into a $400 or $500 box.
I mean, the technology is cheaper, so maybe they can do it.
I know, but it's... I don't know, man.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I feel like $600 will be reasonable. Then it's going to drop down to $500 and then eventually $400. But because the Xbox One X was $399,
No.
$499.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. So that's reasonable.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it is. It's different now. It's like 13 years ago, Sony did $600 for the PS3.
But it wasn't.
But it wasn't worth that.
Yeah.
And the thing is, these boxes, I think, will be worth their cost.
Yeah.
Like, if they're $600, I think they will be worth $600.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Yeah.
The more they talk about it, the more I get the impression that, dude, this next gen is going to be
insane.
Wild.
Yeah.
Like graphically, things aren't going to look much better, but, dude, the games we get are going to be way more robust.
That's what I'm waiting for. I don't really care like about graphics. I just want things to like pop faster, come in faster, and they don't have to do any tricks or anything like that. They can just do what they want to do now. Because it seems like both companies listen to like the developers instead of just like listening to whoever they were listening to before.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, also there was Phil Spencer had a quote where he said that most generations have been marked by you can see the jump in power. And that this is going to be a generation where you don't see it. It's going to be behind. It's going to be behind the scenes. Kind of jump.
I like that kind of jump.
Yeah, and that's the kind of jump I think we need now.
Yeah.
Like, dude, the load times thing, I'm over it.
Yeah.
I'm so sick. I'm so tired of the PS4. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I have a Pro, and it's just like, dude, the load times I'm over it. I'm just over it. It's like I prefer playing on my PC now because it's just so fast.
Yeah,
it's like so much faster. So, and then the final thing they showed was a teaser for Halo Infinite.
Yeah, it looks like it's gonna be the closer for the Halo universe.
You think so?
In my opinion, yeah.
You think they're ever gonna? You think they're actually gonna finish it?
I think they're gonna finish it. I think this is probably gonna be Master Chief's last run.
Yeah.
And then they're probably going to do some other stuff within the universe, like how they should do with StarCraft, just do other shit. But like, yeah, I feel like this is probably going to be his last hurrah.
I mean, dude, as much as I don't care for Halo anymore, like,
it's going to be weird seeing it gone, man.
Well, dude, what they showed of this game though is like the beginning of it is probably going to be what they showed.
Yeah.
And you're next to a Halo ring, and I'm like, that's the cool part of Halo. I don't give a shit about the Earth. I don't care about the Covenant's homeworld. I don't give a shit about any of that. Get me on a Halo ring, fighting Covenant. That's what I want, dude. And that's what it seems like this game is going to be, hopefully. Well,
it looks like you lost.
The humans lost. Yeah,
that's cool.
That's what the guy said, right? So,
I think the game's always at its best when Master Chief is pushed to the brink.
Yes.
So.
Well, that's what I love. He gets up and the dude's like, "Man, we lost. Like, it's all hope is lost." And he's like, "What are we gonna do?" And he's like, "We're gonna fight."
Yeah.
It's like Master Chief's like I love Master Chief's just deadpan badass, like straight up. Like he doesn't joke. There's no fun and games with him. He's just like, "Man, we're gonna fight."
Yeah.
And that's it. We're gonna win. That's what Master Chief does.
Exactly.
It's like so. I don't know. It's like it definitely evokes something in me, like the music. Dude, there's something about the Halo theme that just always like gets me. But I haven't been interested in Halo in a while. I doubt I'll care for this one. If it's on PC, I don't know. It's just like I haven't played Halo in a long time, man.
Yeah. Hey man, get that Master Chief collection, man. Jump back into it.
Maybe on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Maybe on Game Pass.
Yeah.
All right. What are your thoughts on the conference overall? How do you think Microsoft did?
I think they did good. Solid 7 for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, I go higher than that. I think this is a really good show. I'm like really vacillating on who I think the best conference was, But like, dude, after Sunday, well, particularly after Bethesda, I was like, man.
Oh yeah, they did have their conference the same day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, let's talk about them real quick. Nothing happened. Okay. So anyway,
we're gonna cover them in the next episode. Don't worry. Montrell's joking as much as he's being serious. But yeah, no, I thought they were solid, dude. Like, I think I will say that. I think a lot of people were right about the fact that they didn't show a lot of their exclusives.
Yeah, they should have showed more. That's why I gave them a 7, because I think they should have shown more exclusives.
The conference itself was awesome.
Oh yeah.
So I'm giving them. I'd give it an 8 at least.
Okay.
And what I learned from this conference is, dude, next E3 is gonna be fucking bonkers. Like, I'm telling, dude, because Sony wasn't here. Like, they have a ton of games in development for PS5.
Yeah.
That they haven't even remotely talked about at all.
I think they're going to do that state of play crap, though. I think they're just going to continue to do that.
Whether they do or not, I think it will be around E3, similar to the way Nintendo does.
Yeah.
And, dude, I just think next year. And then the fact that Microsoft didn't talk about their exclusives this year means they're going to talk about them next year.
Yeah.
Which means, dude, it's just, I think it's going to be an insane.
I do think, however, releasing Halo as a launch game for the new Xbox it's pretty fucking cool.
Well, it's cool, but it brings up an interesting conundrum, because that means the game's going to have to play on Xbox One.
How?
They're not gonna make it exclusive to the new Xbox.
I think they are.
There's no way. It's going to be cross-gen.
All right.
Which means that the game has to play on an Xbox One, like a base level Xbox One.
We'll see. I doubt that.
Which, I mean, they can do that. Like, PC games use sliders all the time, so they could easily do that.
Yeah.
It's not going to necessarily take away from the Xbox Scarlet version of Halo, but I mean, it's just an interesting point that they're not going to just throw their whole install base away.
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
That's true.
They don't do that usually. So it's kind of they're in an interesting spot. But no, I think it was a solid conference. This was a really great opening to E3. Dude, this got everybody hyped. I know everybody was shitting on Microsoft after the fact. Like, after we saw Square, after we saw Nintendo, was like, oh, Microsoft was so bad. It was like, yeah, on Sunday, none of you was saying that.
Yeah.
Like, it was...
Well, it's a lot of Sony biased people on my timeline.
Same, dude. It's just like a lot of Microsoft haters. It just seems like the cool thing to do is to hate on Microsoft.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
It's getting annoying.
And I like I said, I understand it since 2013. They try to pull, but now they changed.
They're so far away from where they were at that point, though. It's like a completely different company. So get over it. That's like whatever, dude. What is Sony doing for you? Like, they don't have your interests at heart. So, all right, that is gonna be it for this episode, guys. Episode 24. So, if you liked the episode, please like the episode wherever you listen to it. Review the episode and subscribe to the show on that feed. If you could as well, please share it with your friends. We would like to expand the audience. If you want to talk to us on Twitter, Montrell is at iTrap for the Hokage. That is the number 4, not the word. I am at ThunderNut01. The podcast is at The Players Take. If you'd like to send us questions for the show, you can do so at theplayerstake01@gmail.com, and we will answer them. We've still never received a question, and we know more of you are listening, so please ask us a question. Man, I just want to interact with people. All right? All right, so as we said, the next episode next week is going to be finishing up the rest of E3, so you will not have day and date news from the next week, but that will be covered in 2 weeks. So stay tuned for that. All right. We hope you enjoyed it this one, guys, and we will see you on the next one. All right. Bye, guys.